stop by for the Nintenbyte. You got the Triforce and it feels right. Like Bowser, you can listen all night, singing peaches until the sun lights. Summer shooter beams so bright. Master hand always brings a fight. Catch 'em all and use that fire blast. Put the soul back to visit your past. Welcome to the Nintenbyte Podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 16 of the Nintenbyte Podcast. I'm trying to make sure that we're actually live and it's working. Hold on a second here. It's not loading on my back. We are definitely live. We are definitely live.
Yep, I see it.
Just my back end not working. That's fine. My back end can screw off. How you guys doing? Welcome to episode 16. We got a packed show today. If you guys couldn't tell, look, I did a poll on my channel. Right, I asked people, hey, I got all these Switch 2 videos. Like, this stuff just keeps coming in. And some of you guys are like, oh, make concise video. Dude, you don't know me. Each individual thing about Switch 2, I'm going to chat for like 15 minutes. So you want it all in one video. You're getting like a documentary. We're just going to end up getting on my channel, like an hour and a half, a movie. All right. So that's why I'm not doing it that way. That being said, which by the way, for some of you guys that think, oh, it's all about the money. Let me tell you something. An hour and a half video with like 18 Switch stories. That's the big bucks. YouTube actually loves that kind of content. They would promote the hell out of it. So I'm actually kind of probably giving up a little money doing it my way, but I do it my way because it's my way or the highway. Actually, no, you guys voted in the poll and said 71% of you want this shit every day. So we all have the Switch 2 sickness at my channel, and we're continuing that sickness right here on this podcast. Every single topic tonight is Nintendo Switch 2 related, except a dealer's choice, which who the hell knows what's going to happen with that one. So, gosh knows it'll probably somehow be Switch 2 related again. That being said, let's go around the room, introduce everyone here, and then I have a small little announcement. We'll start off with Mike Odyssey. Welcome back, buddy.
What's that?
Indie Mania. Check it out next month. You can actually watch it live right here.
Yeah.
Or there. Or on IGN.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or with me.
Thunderstash as well,
Yeah,
or Nintendo Land, or like I don't know, so many YouTubers. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Sunbro Nation's here. How's it going, man?
Hey, doing good. Glad to be back. Thanks for having me back. When is Indie Mania, Mike?
It's on the 12th, 13th, and 14th September.
Okay. I will be
10 a.m. East Pacific, so it's 1 p.m. Eastern.
nice. I will be tuning in. Nice. Very cool.
Noon for me, baby.
Yep. Yeah, that's me too then.
Yeah, they got big. They got way forward. I mean, that alone makes me want to watch.
Cool. Yeah, I'm excited to talk some Switch 2 because, like you, Nate, I'm a talker, and if I broke down every single Switch 2 topic into individual video, well, I mean, if into one video, it would be it'd be a feature-length film, so we can't do that.
I'm like, holy crap! It'll take me a week to put it together, and then like, hey. It might make good. It might actually make sense, but like you guys would get really. How can this man talk for 90 minutes? Shoot, you don't even know, man.
Yeah,
my videos. Dude, it's called Passion, man. Passionate. We love talking Nintendo stuff. We got Thunderstash Gaming here.
What's up, guys? Happy to be here. A lot of Switch 2 stuff today. Let's get excited.
Oh yeah, dude, I'm excited for your next video because one hasn't dropped in the last week, which means the next one's a banger.
Yeah, actually, I have 3 that I'm working on that are all going to be ready like at the same time.
I knew it. I was like, the fact he didn't get one out means he's got some bangers coming. This would be great.
Yeah.
Then we got Eric Moore.
Hello.
Who's keeping it classic. And god damn it, I mirrored your camera again.
I know.
Every time.
It automatically does it.
I know.
Just didn't unmirror it.
Well, you know, I can at least do that so we're not next to each other.
Flip it.
Yeah, in a moment. Yeah, Eric's trying to pull off trades in Madden 25. We have early access right now for like 10 hours. We make teams, unlike the opposite conferences, meet in the Super Bowl every year. So we basically play one game a year, one game per season. But we enjoy the process of building teams because we're NFL fans. Let's see here. I think you're the Jets. I'm the Commanders, and we just move. We literally just move. We move the hell out after the first year, make our own cities and stuff. All right, so let's get into our. I have a small announcement before we get into the topic roulette, just because. Questions might come up in the chat, and questions are definitely going to come up as the podcast keeps going on week after week. Andres Restart will not be part of the Nintenbyte Podcast for the foreseeable future. I don't know when he will be back. He hasn't quit the podcast for good, but he's just got some in real life stuff going on. It's up to him if and when it could ever be talked about publicly, but I wish him luck in what he's going through. And I think everyone in the chat that's going to miss him, don't worry, he's still around. He's still making content. He's still doing his streams on his channel and everything. There's no drama.
No.
I saw someone like say, "Hey, do you and Andre Streets like knocking along? What are you talking about? We talked like half the day today about YouTube videos. So like nothing's changed. He's just he needs to take some more time to take care of some in real life stuff. He'll be back. It might be a couple months, but that's all right. We'll make it work. You see, we made it work today. We got Mike Odyssey and Sunrow here. Come on now. Come on, man. I'm gonna try to put on the best show we can over here.
I might even bring up Metroid tonight, guys. So
it is on. Yeah, switch it. It'll be a launch game. Okay. Anyways, let's go ahead and get to our topic roulette. And since we have 4 topics, I guess I'll go first to take 2 of them as the main host of the show. Gosh, these are some good Switch 2 topics. I'm just going to start with the first one because I think this is the one that people are like really crazy about. The Switch 2 reveal and release reports and rumors. Like, that's the stuff that everyone's going nuts about right now. So I'll take that one. Let's go, Eric. Which one do you want to take? Or do you want to take dealer's choice? I mean,
yeah, because I have a topic.
You never know. You just pull it out your ass. That's what the dealer's choice is. Or it could be where I give a topic idea at the very beginning of the show, and then Thunderstash took dealer's choice and then makes it that topic.
I mean, there's that. I'll do game rumors are pouring in.
All right, game rumors pouring in for Switch 2. Nice. All right, that is Thunderstash. Which one are you taking?
I'll take wait. There's more for Switch 2. Why have we have a lot to talk about with new rumored features.
All right. And I guess that leaves me with dealer's choice, which I have no idea for a topic because I came up with all the topics. So I'll have to figure that out as we go.
If we get to that.
Well, we probably will. What I'm looking at here, though, is that somehow we picked the topics in order.
Yeah.
That was insane. You guys don't know. We have like this giant podcast document behind the scenes. Somehow, this is the first time they've been picked in order since we started doing topic roulette. So, all right. Well, I guess we're on the topic number 1, the Switch 2 reveal and release reports and rumors. So, look, guys, a lot going on with this story. There's 2 primary reports around it. The first one comes from Pedro Henrique Luda-Lipa. For those who don't know, he's a Brazilian video game journalist. He goes online by PH or PH Brazil. And he shared on a podcast that he co-hosts about once a week a few little nuggets. And the first one seems that like he claims that Nintendo has brought forward some plans regarding the Nintendo Switch 2 release schedule, not the release, but the schedule. Like, that's the marketing schedule and everything that goes up to release. And he said presentations that were scheduled for the end of September seem to have been brought forward to the next couple of weeks. So August. Beyond this, he said on the show he's speaking this on, which was a podcast that it'll be one of the last shows they do before Switch 2 news really starts to pop up. Now, one of the last, not the last. So, really heavily hinting sometime here, I would say between now and September, the end of September, that he's expecting some sort of like Switch 2 thing to happen. And then lastly, he did speak on Family Boards a bit over the weekend, and he said that there will be an Indie World. I wrote it here next week. It's not next week. It's next month. He said there'll be an Indie World in September, and he kind of hinted by mentioning in the Nintendo Direct hype thread on the forum that something is happening sooner than later. So kind of suggesting the September event that would have been a Nintendo Direct is probably this month. That's my interpretation of what he's saying because he was speaking in the Nintendo Direct thread. And then on the podcast, he said a September event moving forward. Well, what happens every September? So like that seems to be, he technically on the podcast, he didn't say it was a Direct, but you kind of connect the dots. And then we have the additional story as well from Christopher Dring from GameIndustry.biz. He stated that his sources are telling him that the Switch 2 will launch after the end of this fiscal year, possibly as soon as April or May. This was then corroborated by Tom Phillips at Eurogamer today. So like that was a brand new report today, although just a corroboration is why I didn't do like an update video because I already covered it yesterday. It's just the same story. In addition, industry insider Nate the Hate has stated on his podcast that he believes it will release in half one of 2024, no later than June. And he actually went on to Family Boards to kind of say the same thing. Like he was trying to point out that some of the reports back when the Switch 2 was delayed, he was pointing this out on Family Boards, said March at the earliest. And he is correct. Some of the reports did say March at the earliest back then. Some of them, though, did say March. And Brazil, as recently as 3 months ago, put out a video on his channel where he also said it's coming out in March. So there have been reporters that said March, but there were some that said as early as March. So you could argue that the news that we got is an update to the release schedule, or you could say it's just clarification of the release schedule that was technically already talked about. Either way, no one seems to be saying, at least reporting, that it's going to be like a holiday 2025 thing. So first, let's actually jump all the way back though to, because these are both related, right? Like reveal and release. It's all like a planned event that Nintendo's, got a marketing plan for. So do we think that Pedro Henrique is actually teasing that Switch 2 is being revealed in 2024? Because now with people being like, oh, what if this doesn't come out till like May or June? Do they really have to reveal it this year? Like, is it happening? What do you guys think?
I think so. I think he said that Nintendo is kind of following the same kind of pattern they did with Switch 1, like revealing around the same time. So I've always said, yeah, Nintendo it looks like they're actually going to follow the same pattern they did. October reveal, January event, March release. And so, I mean, if they're superstitious, they might go ahead and do the same thing because, hey, let's try to make this one as successful as Switch. And I believe it could be also. But I believe it. I think it's going to be a October reveal, either January or February event, and then either March or April release. So around that time, up to May, I would say. But first year, I agree. I agree with this guy. The first year of the first half of the year.
Okay.
So I'm on the same page with the first half of 2025 still. Mm-hmm. I would be way more confident in March just being like, and I would have said Switch 2 will follow like almost identically the Switch 1 reveal schedule if it wasn't for the amount of sources on this report now. Because yeah, first it was Christopher Dring, and I was a little bit iffy on him, and Nate, I know you were too. I watched your video, and then even some tweets like he didn't, he just straight up said there wouldn't be a Nintendo Direct in June 2023 when Nintendo Life was asking about it. He said nope. He had some stuff wrong about like Tears of the Kingdom being the big swan song game for the Nintendo Switch. You could argue it from a certain standpoint if you're talking about development budget,
I guess.
Yeah, but you could argue that there's maybe a world where people can view it like that. But if you look at Wonder and then you just look at everything else we've seen for the Switch past that, it's that Tears of the Kingdom is not the swan song for the Switch.
Legends EA is announced for Switch. Metro Prime 4
right.
is announced for Switch.
Yeah.
And we got another Zelda game, Echoes of Wisdom. So so I wasn't banking on his report quite as much until Mochizuki chimed in, and I don't know if you saw that on his tweets. That kind of shifted my perspective a little bit, and then now Tom Phillips from Eurogamer, and then even Necro Felipe was like, "Well, I'm going to publish this report now because even Eurogamer's saying it." So
yeah, Tom Phillips is really reliable.
It feels similar to the amount of outlets that we saw come out when the Switch 2 was supposedly shifted from holiday 2024 into early 2025. And some of them did say as early as March, and some of them said March. And PH Brazil, I still have some faith that they have inside knowledge because they have gotten some things right that make me think they do.
Yeah.
They've also gotten enough not right to make me think they talk about things a little bit too early, like the April Nintendo Direct that we thought might happen this last year. And I'm hopeful that their info about things getting moved up isn't like old info that they're trying to push into this, because that's exactly what they said about the April Direct. That info may have been outdated by the time I shared it, but they shared it pretty confidently when they shared it, when PH Brazil shared that originally. So I'm in the mindset now. I'm hopeful April, May. Mochizuki did, to somebody saying it's going to be May, isn't it? Mochizuki responded with a frowny face. Not that he is a for sure like 100% source or anything, but that kind of made me think a little bit less likely May. So now I'm thinking April or June in 2025.
for a release.
For the release, not for the reveal. I still think there's a chance we can see reveal this year, but I also think because of the holiday season and Nintendo maybe trying to really hit that 13.5 and they want to do a price cut and they want to just promote the heck out of the Switch this year, I think there's a world where they don't reveal it until January or February. But then that's a really quick turnaround. So, I'm a little split on it.
So let me add something. If they reveal this year is exactly 6 months from release. So it's like from October to March of the Switch was exactly 6 months. 3 months between event and 3 months between release. So if they reveal in October, we're getting a March release.
That's more than likely.
The way I look at it is, I don't know that, like, I know like Brazil seems to be confident that it's going to be similar to Switch for their. I don't know if I buy that. Nintendo's only done it one time where it was revealed and 6 months later release. They could go with a 9 month, which could still be revealed this year, June release. I kind of look at it as like Nintendo, and even if we're honest, if we're truly honest about Switch, yes, the reveal was in October, but they told us it was coming out March 2017 and April of 2016. Like we knew a year ahead of time, essentially, when the next system was coming out, even though they hadn't revealed it yet. So you could argue that even that 6 month window, it's like, well, yeah, but we already knew when it was coming before they even revealed it. We don't even know that right now. What we do know is that there's an announcement. That's their wording, an announcement related to the Nintendo Switch successor this fiscal year. We presume that announcement's a reveal, because if it's anything else, if they're just revealing a code name and saying
be the ultimate troll move.
Like if they pull out the April 2016 tweet, code name, release month. Okay, well that's not. No, please.
Possible.
I think the internet would just, one, we're happy we have a release month. Two, just the code. That's it. The Nintendo, you already said Nintendo Switch successor out loud. We can just live with that. We don't need another code name on top. But okay, whatever. I honestly think it'll probably be a reveal. I don't think they would have made that public tweet if it wasn't going to end up being a reveal. I think they would have just said nothing and then dropped a tweet with a code name or something. So I'm pretty confident in. Well, obviously I'm confident in a reveal by March, because that seems to be what's going to happen. I think that I've seen some people that are really pushing the holiday narrative. Even on like the Nintenbyte Podcast, it was like Kat Bailey and MVG were both like, our opinion is it's going to be holiday 2025. I don't actually think Nintendo wants to launch holiday 2025. I think one thing they did learn from Switch is that first fiscal year of the platform, there's something to be said about having two major sales periods, because launch is one, and then you have the holiday. And not only that, you have an audience for the holiday to sell more copies of games during the holiday season. Instead of launching your holiday where you have like a 2 million install base, so the max a game's probably going to sell is 2 million copies. And it's like, okay, but if you have a 5, 6, 7 million install base by holiday, then you sell an additional 5, 6 million that first holiday. Suddenly you have a 13 million install base for holiday. You could potentially have a 5, 6, 7 million seller that holiday if it's a Mario Kart or a Pokemon or whatever. So I kind of think that Nintendo did learn with Switch that if it's a system people want, they could double whammy at year one. And I think that's why the first half, like no later than June, maybe July at the latest, it makes a lot of sense to kind of get the system out there to allow that base to build up. Now, obviously, the earlier the better. The one reason that I think April could make sense is like if they're kind of looking at, look, we did our predictions for this year. It is what it is. We want all sales for this to be a complete fiscal year instead of it being split. Like it starts in March and then, then we go into April, because March is the last month. I can see them going, you know what? We actually want to spend the first 3 months of next year hyping it up. And then we drop it in April, the earliest we can in the fiscal year. And then they get an entire fiscal year of a new platform where they could maybe hit, record year one sales for a system for them. That would be pretty insane. So I could see them maybe targeting April. And I know the reports say like the developers hope it's April or May. What that also means is that these sources don't actually know. True. Just to be clear, they don't know. Like when Machizuki did the frowny face for May, I don't know if that even means anything. I don't think the developers actually know exactly. That's why I'm not entirely ruling out March as a possibility, because I don't know that developers truly know. But I will say that obviously the reports make it seem likely that it's probably not this fiscal year, which is fine. I for the reveal, I think that obviously they could wait till next year, right? They could, and I also think if they wait till next year, they're not price dropping Switch this holiday. I think that's a mistake either way. I think they should price drop either way. But you know, they got Jamboree, and that could be a 10 million seller. And maybe they think they could just coast. They got Zelda Switch Lite launching at full price September 26th.
Mm-hmm.
So like they could think, hey, you know what? If we just don't talk about it, like do a reveal this year, we could sell full price. I don't know if that's part of their sales strategy. Obviously, they said that 13.5 million when they like predicted it, that it was ambitious, and Furukawa admitted he didn't think they would actually sell it, but that's just a target.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they got through quarter one, and they didn't change their predictions. They're on task. Like everyone talked about how, oh man, the quarter one sales are down. Well, yeah, it was Tears of the Kingdom last year.
Yeah,
and let's be realistic. What's PlayStation 4 in like year 4? And it was only 300,000 less units. Oh, sorry, PlayStation 5. There's only 300,000 less units than what PlayStation 5 sold, and we're in year 8. We're twice as old as the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, that is crazy.
We're kind of selling the same as they are. So Nintendo's obviously pretty happy with those sales. We'll see what happens during the holidays. I also don't think if they announce it this year, it kills sales for the holidays. I just think that that has to come with the price drop. So they could wait. If it's a June, July, if it's a holiday release, then yeah, I think they might not even announce the damn thing till March if it's a holiday release. Or they do February, whatever, because of direct season. I think that I still think they'll announce it this year, though. I don't think Brazil is unreliable. He was off a little bit with his stuff, but he actually had a pretty good explanation. Then he ended up being exactly right about what he said after he said it wasn't happening in April, because he said that very early in April. Actually, guys, it's not going to happen this month. I'm hearing Indie World this time, direct in June. And he was right about that, which you could argue those are easy predictions because those are the typical times Nintendo does things. But also you could see how things were maybe that information he got before Switch 2 was delayed. And you could understand Nintendo's strategy there, where they might have been like, hey, we were going to reveal this in March, but we wanted Switch owners to immediately know we still got stuff for you. And that June Direct could have been the April Direct to remind everyone, hey, we got big stuff for Switch still this year. Keep buying systems, keep buying games. Maybe the faith with backwards compatibility as well could keep games going too. So I can kind of understand where that delay, internal delay, by the way, obviously rumored, reported, whatever, no official delay, but internal delay could have shifted everything. So is Brazil questionable at times? Yeah. Has he gotten some stuff right before? Sure. I think, and the fact that he is being, here's the thing. If there's a Nintendo Direct this month, that's just like another check. Like,
for sure.
It's August. We don't get directs in August. So if it does happen this month, he's the only person saying it. And then you have, Nate the Hate on his podcast. Well, the guests were all sitting there. Oh, holiday 2025. He was also like, no. They can still reveal it this year. It's not going to ruin their holiday sales. They already announced the damn thing exists. Yeah. All you got to do is type Nintendo Switch on the internet, and half the things that pop up are Nintendo Switch 2. Like, they already announced it. So, like, they already did the thing that would hurt their holiday sales. So who cares? Just reveal the damn system. And yeah, it could come out first half of next year. And that's what he said. And now what are the reports saying? First half of next year. Just not March. Okay, well, so now Nate the Hate's sort of like, he didn't say it was from sources, but, one of those, hey, maybe he's heard something. But
yeah,
Nate the Hate, you got to understand something with Nate the Hate. He was the one that said it's being revealed in March. And then 2 days later, so like, you can understand if maybe he doesn't want to be like, yeah, my people are telling me it's revealed in September, but like, I don't want to say that, because what happens if we get to September and then something changes and then he just got egg in his face again? So I think he's holding back a little right now, which good for him.
Yeah. One thing they could do and is that if they reveal, they can show within the trailer the backwards compatibility in effect. So at least for the holiday season, software wise, it doesn't go down. Hey, I can buy.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And the system takes it. And then another thing is, I don't think they're gonna price drop. I think that what they're gonna do is bundle. Because digitally, it's like they've already made billions in sales when it comes to digital version. They could just say, oh yeah, Switch OLED at $349, but it comes with Mario and Donkey Kong, or Mario and Mario Kart. But you get 2 Marios. That's their price drop. free digital games, not like a actual reduction in price. Because that's what they've done every year. This bundle. So I'm guessing that's what they're gonna do this year too.
Yeah. Thunderstash, what are you thinking over there?
A lot of things. One, Mike, yeah, I had the same thing as well. I think with the backwards compatibility, if you announce the system this year, then you announce backwards compatibility, and that in turn won't kill the sales. If anything, that's going to, people are going to be more likely to buy games for the Switch. If they really want to switch, now in year 8, they can buy a bunch of games for it and know that next year they can get a Switch 2 and play all those games on there. Then you got to factor in if there's going to be any sort of upgrade for these Switch games, right? Because, again, we go back to the source code for games like Paper Mario, The Thousand Year Door, and shows that the game can run in 4K, right? So you got to wonder if that is for Switch 2. So again, that gives you another reason to buy games on Switch 1 and then bring it over to Switch 2 and have a improved performance. When it comes to all the rumors, man, there's a lot right now to keep up with. The first thing I thought when I started seeing all these rumors come out is I do wonder which developers are in the know and which ones aren't, and when they were last updated. So I'm guessing the percentage that is in the know is very small, and I would presume that has possibly shrunk over the last year. Even if you look back to Gamescom last year and those purported leaks, I'm sure Nintendo was not happy about that. We know how Nintendo is when it comes to leaks.
Not there this year.
Yeah. And so
they're not happy.
you got to wonder if that's shrank because of that as well.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we can't tell as many people because everyone opens their mouths over here on the West. So I'd imagine Nintendo is guarding that launch date very closely. And they're probably giving some of these developers windows like, hey, have it ready by this quarter or the first half of the year. But really, maybe it's a different date. I just don't think many developers actually know when it's going to be. Like, think about it. Who would know? Yeah. Who would Nintendo trust? Truly. What, Retro, right? Retro Studios, Monolith Soft. Who else?
Unreal, people from Unreal Engine, Epic Games, bigger engines, like engines that people use to develop games. I'm pretty sure they already have. They've had the system in hand. And they've been told.
Sure. Yeah, the people that make the engines for sure.
Yeah, I know that because I work for Apple Corporate, right? I work for Apple Corporate, and I didn't know when the next iPhone was going to be. I know because of the pattern, right?
Well, yeah,
or whatever. But I didn't know jack about the next iPhone, and any information whatsoever. Working for corporate, so it was literally there was this team that within the company that everybody called ninjas. Is because they're in this little room and they're about just 10 of them. They're just 10 and they know the stuff. They know when things are going to be released, the products, the software, the everything. And so I'm guessing Nintendo have their own little ninjas. Well, they have ninjas, but
I agree.
Yeah, their own little group.
I watched your video too, and I heard you talk about that earlier today, and I totally agree with you. And that's the thing, like Nintendo Japan handles things really differently as opposed to any companies out here in the West. And they have a very small circle. And I just got to imagine that there's very few developers they trust to let them know when the actual launch date is going to be, or at least the launch month. So that's the first thing is that the way I kind of look at these rumors coming out is like, we'll see, because I'm not confident that everyone has up-to-date news or leaks, right? When it comes to the launch date, like I listened to the Nate the Hate podcast as well, and I heard them talk about holiday, and I heard Nate say, I don't know about that. Personally, I don't think it falls to holiday 2025, and Yeah, I'd already kind of written this out, but you mentioned it as well, Nate, is that the Switch 1, for what we know, the Switch 2 was internally delayed, right? It was supposed to come out holiday 2024.
Sure.
That was the plan, and it was purportedly internally delayed. So I don't see it being internally delayed for 12 months. I don't see them going from holiday 2024 to holiday 2025. Furthermore, it makes complete sense to have the two big selling periods. I've always thought that Nintendo's been super successful, like you said, because you're going to sell a ton of units and software at launch, and then you're going to do it again. So you get two in the same fiscal period. So it makes sense, again, to launch it early in the year. Not only that, but everyone who buys it on day one, like we all will, the early adopters, we are free word of mouth advertising for the whole year. The content creators on YouTube, we give free advertising for the whole entire year. Like we will actually hype that up for them, not purposely, but because we're actually hyped for it and we really enjoy Nintendo, and that's going to help their sales dramatically too. So again, it doesn't make sense to launch, in my opinion, right at the holiday season. I don't know when the last time was that Nintendo launched in the holiday period. I know Paul Gale actually posted a little bit earlier today, actually about an hour ago, and he brought out the amount of times that Nintendo's released a console per month in the US. It is very interesting.
Yeah.
But he kind of broke down at the bottom of the tweet some of these dates, right? And even if you look at the history, it says October is likely, but some of the data that makes up October is from a totally different era, like the 80s and 90s. So I don't see it coming out at that point, because you're leaving money on the table, I think, when you do that. March, obviously, the recent rumors aren't pointing to that, but I could still see March, April, May, no doubt. But if it doesn't get revealed this year, revealed in January, right after the holiday, and it would still launch somewhere around April, May, June then.
Yeah. It's interesting to think about. I think the last console they launched in November was Wii U, if I remember right. That was a holiday launch. That didn't go well for them, by the way. They sold out technically day one, but only day one. It was restocked day 3 and never sold out again.
Another thing I want to mention too is about the yen. I don't know if you guys have been following it. Of course, the yen was not doing good at all, but it's improved dramatically over the last month. I don't know if you guys are aware of that, but I think that was factored into this. I really do. Is the yen, and it's starting to recover. I just looked it up, but currency strategists predict the yen to end the year stronger than they had expected, in the mid 140 range to the dollar, which is an improvement following the currency's recent surge. So the yen has gained 10% against the dollar over the last month, which is really good. And honestly, I think that is going to play a role in the Switch too. So if that recovers quicker than anticipated, we could actually get the Switch quicker than anticipated, if that is one of the big reasons why. Now, will we ever know that reason? Probably not. I don't think they want the consumer to know that, but I think that definitely plays a role.
Yeah, I've thought about the yen stuff a lot. Shout out to Nintendo Forecast. He's done several videos about the yen and the money, and how a high yen can actually be sometimes bad for Nintendo because most of their money comes from overseas. So then it makes that money worth less to them. But then there's also benefits to it, because when they're going to make purchase orders for like manufacturing, well, they're converting yen down. So then the money's actually worth more for purchase orders. What I find interesting when talking about it is, look, if this thing's launching in the first half of next year, they already have the purchase manufacturing orders that have already been made. Like, they're already on schedule. They already bought the lines and the time and the factory space. So when they go into mass production, they're going into mass production. What's interesting, and I do think mass production is beginning fairly soon, because I don't know if you guys pay a lot of attention to this. Over on Family Boards, they're following shipping data between Nintendo and their partners, and they're getting that's how we found out 12 gigabytes of RAM and this other stuff. And in that shipping data, it tells you how much Nintendo's ordering of each thing, and the orders are starting to get into the hundreds. And every month they're going higher into I think the last month that they had, it was in the thousands, and that data is 2 months old. So Nintendo's already ramping up their orders of the components. So it's kind of it's almost like they're preparing to start to go into full manufacturing here any month now at this point. Probably if it's launching in May or June, probably sometime around October, November, mass manufacturing goes into play. Because you always got to remember there is a holiday that happens early in the year every year where all the factories shut down for 2 weeks. So that's always got to be factored in. But that wouldn't really matter if mass manufacturing started well before that. They could have millions of units ready to go for day one. And we do have to remember, Nintendo Furukawa said, hey, how are you going to combat scalping? We're just going to have a lot of systems.
Yep.
We're just going to have a lot of them.
Best way.
I also think, to go off the ruling out the possibility of holiday 2025, I really don't think there's a world where Nintendo would have made that May announcement this year that there were, that the successor console is going to be talked about this fiscal year or announced this fiscal year, if they had it in their head that, there's a possibility this goes to holiday 2025. I don't think there's a chance that they announce it that early, that they announce that it's coming that early, knowing that it will shift a certain percentage of users from buying the current Switch right now, unless if it was in the relatively close pipeline, which I think has to be first half of 2025.
Mm-hmm.
It might not be March anymore, but I think it's first half.
So there's no person on this podcast that's been wanting Switch 2 more than Eric Moore over there. Eric Moore has been wanting Switch 2 for 3 years.
Yes, I do.
Forget Switch Pro. He wants Switch 2. So what are your thoughts on all this? Because this is this is a huge deal for you. Reveal timing and release dates.
God.
Obviously, having to have lots of money ready for all the games and accessories.
Right. I mean, I want it as soon as possible, obviously. But I could see them holding off till next year to announce it and then have it come out in the middle of the freaking year, and it's gonna be.
He doesn't sound happy about this. By the way.
I'm not.
He sounds very upset.
No, I want it to come out. I want it to come out in March. I want it to be,
tax return time, baby.
Yeah, that, and I don't know. It's just, I think it'd be a good time. Actually, like I said, I want it to come out tomorrow, but
Shadow Drop.
Yeah,
that worked well for the Saturn.
Right. But it's hard to tell with Nintendo because what's planned right now doesn't mean that it's gonna be the plan tomorrow. Doesn't mean it's gonna be a plan 2 weeks from now. Doesn't mean it's gonna be a plan a month and a half from now. So it's one of those things that it's hard to tell with Nintendo where they stand, how they stand, because, like I said, it can just go out the window at any time. So if I had to guess, I'm hoping it releases around March, but knowing Nintendo, they said they would show it this fiscal year, so that probably means they'll show it in March and it'll come out in June, July.
Okay. So that's actually a good way to bring up this one super chat because it fits our topic here. From a Tat the Backlog, he says, "Hey everyone, I hope you're all well. I guess my question would be, if the Switch 2 release slips to post-April, when do you predict the reveal trailer?"
If it's post-April, I would still say this year, maybe November. If the Switch 2, what's the question? If it's the release,
it flips to post-April, so after April.
So anytime after April,
yeah.
I think still will be this year. I think because I read the tweet literally. He didn't say towards the end of the fiscal year. He says within, yeah. So, and maybe that's a translation, but I'm pretty sure that it's within the fiscal year. He would have said towards the end of this fiscal year where we'll talk about it, or something like that. But I think the reveal this time, I think April. I will give it to May for the launch. That's my the latest month.
If it's not April, then and I would expect it wouldn't be May either, then I would guess it would be June. I would say it would come out end of June, and then if it's in that case, then I would predict that the reveal trailer actually happens towards the end of January.
Okay. All right.
I would think as well, like January makes sense to do it like right after the holiday.
Mm-hmm.
But then it might piss some people off.
Yeah, it
Like,
will to a certain extent.
Maybe that
sucks.
was maybe that was
People are gonna get like anyone. I think it's overstated how many people are gonna get mad. I see people already being like, you can't reveal it now or to piss people off, or you can't reveal it right after the holidays or piss people. I'm like, dude, the people buying Switches now aren't even thinking about Switch 2.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
That's true. And you listen, if they had 8 years to buy it and they're just barely buying it, 7 years and 3/4 in,
yeah, I saw someone say like, well,
you're buying aged hardware.
comes out next year. Well, I just bought a Switch last year. I'm like, okay. Well, I mean, one, that's like 2 years later, and two,
Uh-huh.
I mean, you do know Switch has been out since 2017, right? Like,
Yeah.
not a new system.
And they announced that they're announcing their successor console, in May. So it's like, I think Nintendo, there will be people that complain, but they're not
There always
necessarily
is.
rightfully so.
I think that's why they actually did make that little strategy there, because maybe if they do reveal it in January, hey, we already said we were gonna reveal it.
Yeah,
this
literally,
year.
there's only 3 months left that we said we were going to do it. So what do we?
Exactly, yeah. And so, but then on the other hand, too, if there are some people who buy it late in the system or whatever late, it's okay to buy a Switch right now anyway, because Nintendo, look, they just finished supporting the Wii U. Earlier this year, or last year, shutting down eShops and shutting down online system. That was for the Wii U. This is towards the end of the Nintendo Switch Live system. So if you buy a Switch now, you can expect at least a Switch to have even a longer span of support, because of the NSO is attached to it, and a lot, be in the entire, play base and accounts. So if you buy a Switch now, or if you buy it next, expect it to be around for a period of time. Even after the Switch 2 comes out, I still think Switches are going to sell.
Yeah, it'll be their budget system.
Yeah. I think a lot of the Switches that are going to be sold are going to be for like new gamers or people who either this is like their first video game kind of console, or they're just casually getting into it, right? Like if you're a hardcore gamer and you don't have a Switch yet and you buy a Switch right now and they announce in January that they're, doing a Switch 2, you shouldn't be pissed off. Like you're really late to the game, right? And that's kind of how I look at it. So yeah, if there's people who are upset, that's just life. That's the world. That's the internet. People are going to complain. I will say one thing though. If it were to come out later in the year, which I don't want it to. None of us do. But if it were, I would say October, because that's the 40th anniversary of Nintendo releasing the NES in the United States. It released in October 1985 in New York City. So if for some reason you want to like go full circle and really bring in that 40 years of Nintendo, it's an option.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say something that I am the only person saying this on the internet. I could be wrong. There's probably somebody else, but let's say it's released in May. I'm just gonna go with May. Screw it. Maybe it's June. Maybe it's May. Either way, first half next year, post April. That's the question. I'm just gonna stick with what I've been saying. It gets revealed this month, and it gets revealed in a Nintendo Direct for the first time ever. And I say this again because Furukawa made a statement earlier this year. I shouldn't say a statement. Nintendo did when they announced the Direct for June, where they said there will not be news about the Nintendo Switch successor. There'll be nothing about it in this Direct. But we wouldn't expect that anyways, because they've never announced a new generation in a Direct. So you don't even have to say that.
Yeah.
But he said that, which to me, if you read that a different way, could be, because we're going to reveal it in a Direct. So if we don't say this at the next Direct, that's because there will be Nintendo Switch 2 news in that direction. I know some people just think, well, yeah, they were just saying that because they just recently said that, the Nintendo Switch successor is going to be announced sometime this fiscal year or whatever, and that's fine. But I do think that we sometimes forget that this is Furukawa's Nintendo. We're out of the Iwata era. Iwata started directs. Iwata never announced a system in a direct, a new generation. Furukawa's never announced a new generation. It's never happened. He's going to do what he thinks is best, and he knows Nintendo Directs are one of the biggest things Nintendo does that draws the most attention. And if they have a Direct, I think they might even straight up when they announce the Direct go tune in to see the next generation of Nintendo or something like that. He already knows that he breaks the internet. 24 straight hours, Nintendo's breaking the internet, and he knows it. So it could be just a really hype thing to do and overshadow things. Look, what are you gonna do? They already said that he's gonna reveal a thing. It's already technically overshadowing everything, and we have a Zelda game coming. We have Jamboree coming, and what are we talking about this week? Switch 2. Like, it already overshadows everything, and that doesn't mean the games don't matter. The games obviously matter. I think a lot of us on this show are picking up a bunch of these games the rest of the year. So, like, and playing them and making content on them and live streams and all that stuff. But it's, like I don't good old Thunderstash over there has got like everything on pre-order, man. He's just ready to go.
I do. Yeah, I'm excited. Hey, with that though, I just thought of something too, and we've all talked about it. I think everyone's channel has, but again, we only have release dates up until DK Country returns, and then it stops there. Full stop.
Yep.
It's just interesting. Like, if we get a direct, in September, like we always do, or if it's moved up, like some of the rumors are suggesting, we get in August, and they don't announce first party titles past January. I think that would be telling. Because we know the Switch 1's still going to be supported after the Switch 2 comes out. But I can't see you releasing huge Switch 1 titles right when Switch 2 is coming out.
I mean,
you guys think we'd see that?
We know about two of them. One's Pokemon, which
yeah,
usually always a year late to the party because they want to wait for a bigger install base. Obviously, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. I think a lot of people just think that's going to be a cross-gen game.
I think it will. Yeah.
We'll see. But that is one point too that I thought about having like let's say the Direct was still in September. I still sort of have that expectation that Switch 2 might be in it, because if it is launching first half of next year, well, usually in the September Direct they tease a couple 2025 games, and while we have a couple they could go over, there's usually a new one. And well, okay, if Switch 2 is coming out first half next year, then it's kind of hard to talk about that time frame without actually having the system the games are on. So you could just kind of make it sort of like a Switch 2 event that then just ends by reminding you about all our holiday games as well. And we have all this other stuff coming, and you might go, well, everything would overshadow everything. It's like, yeah, but dude, if in that teaser there's a backwards compatibility announcement, that's going to boost sales because people will feel even more confident about buying today's games, knowing they can play it on tomorrow's system. And there's already like 145 million people that own Switch right now. Like, I know people are always like, well, they're chasing PS2 and they're doing this and they're like, look, I'm going to bring this back to a quote Furukawa said back in May. It essentially broke down as, we're not worried about 1 year, one fiscal year of profits. We will basically, he said that they are devoted, his own words, devoted to the Nintendo Switch successor this fiscal year. Devoted. That means behind the scenes, that's all Nintendo's worrying about right now. It's behind the scenes for them. Everything's about setting up the Switch this fiscal year. This fiscal year. Everything behind the scenes is about setting up that system to be successful. So he said, we will hurt today's profits if it means bigger long-term gains in the future for Nintendo Switch successor. So whenever people talk about, well, they won't hurt the holiday sales, yeah, they will, if it means Switch 2 will be more successful at launch if they do it. Like, that's all they care about right now. Yes, they want to obviously keep Switch selling. They want to keep the profits going. They have their projections. But he also said that he thought it would be very hard to hit those projections, and he doesn't think it would happen. Maybe he doesn't think it would happen because he knows they're going to fully reveal the system this year. And he knows that might make 13.5 million not possible to hit. And he's okay with it because he already told investors, you're going to have to be okay with us maybe making less money to make sure that we're good for the next 10 years and really increase our corporate value. So these are all words from Furukawa. He's kind of like set the table where, hey, I am willing to hurt holiday sales. I am willing to do whatever it takes to make this thing successful. And the word devoted, I find very fascinating because that's a heavy word. That's a heavy word to use about what the Switch successor is to you behind the scenes. Like that is all this fiscal year. So if they're devoted right now, that tells me if they're not launching at the end of this fiscal year, they're obviously launching it early into the next. And this year is all about, we're just getting the marketing campaign ramped up. We're getting the games ready to go. Our third-party partners all set. So we can have like one of the biggest launches in history.
So something I look at though, like just to add on to what you're saying, is that if they do reveal it this year, which I think they will, I still think they reveal it this year. But if they do and they announce backwards compatibility, what's that going to do? It's going to increase software sales, right? Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's been like this since the beginning of time. Every console manufacturer makes way more profit on software sales.
Yeah.
And the margin for hardware sales is very thin. Oftentimes, we've seen console manufacturers sell the hardware at a loss. Nintendo is not one to do that, but the other manufacturers have. The point is that even though Nintendo doesn't sell it at a loss, the profit margin is extremely small. So if you're worried about not selling enough Switch units because you announced Switch 2 this year, you have to look at it from the other perspective, in that if you announce Switch 2 this year, your software sales might skyrocket because people are going to buy games that they know they can play on Switch 2.
Yep.
And if that's where your greater profits lie, and they do, then they could actually make a ton of money this year and sell less hardware.
100%.
So like their profits are never tied to the hardware.
Yeah.
They already have a huge install base.
To add to that, there's a lot of games on Nintendo Switch right now that don't run well, right? They're ports that could be on sale for Nintendo Switch right now that people might just go ahead and jump in. Oh, hey, maybe this will work better on Switch 2. Or if they release a patch, I already own the game, so I'll just jump in the holidays and buy all these games so that they're ready and I have them ready for Switch 2.
If the DLSS does what I hope it does, meaning it's going to improve performance of past Switch titles. Now, imagine this. Like, imagine if Nintendo was like, hey, if you released a game on Switch 1, you can re-release it on Switch 2 if you improve it with DLSS. You have to use DLSS, kind of like what we heard Sony telling developers about PlayStation 5 Pro. Like, hey, we'll give you the PS5 Pro logo on your games, like as long as you truly like use it and you take advantage of it and you improve the performance. We'll slap it on there. We'll throw it on the PlayStation Store in a special section that shows everyone like which games are enhanced. I could see Nintendo doing that with the developers, because do you guys remember when it was first kind of discussed about backwards compatibility, and there was news or rumblings, you could say, about third-party developers being upset about the Switch 2 potentially being backwards compatible because they thought it would cannibalize their sales. So what if Nintendo's like, all right, hold up, we'll meet you in the middle. If you released a game on Switch 1, you can re-release it on Switch 2 as long as you take advantage and you apply the DLSS. For instance, if your game runs at 30 frames per second and you could have maybe got it up to 40 or 50, but now with Switch 2 and the DLSS, you can have a 60 FPS Switch 2 game. Or if you improve the resolution, or who knows, we don't know what kind of controller we're going to get. We don't know if it's going to have, advanced haptics, if it's going to, employ any of the technology that's in the PS5 DualSense controller, which again, that's my favorite controller. It's awesome. I'd love to see Nintendo do that. But imagine that. That would be meeting the developers in the middle, right? And give them an opportunity to sell all these games that they already released years ago on Switch 1, on Switch 2, improve. So that's what I'm thinking. Like, if they reveal the Switch 2 and they say it's backwards compatible, great. But then they say, oh, and by the way, like, I truly think this could be one of the big selling points of the Switch 2 is the DLSS.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think?
I agree with you, and I like that idea, but that idea also, to me, does not sound very Nintendo. Because it would be them doing something very Sony for the first time. You know what I mean? Like, kind of talking about, we have more powerful hardware. Your games today that you're buying are going to run and look better on that next gen hardware. I almost don't think that they'll even tell us what their plan is when they reveal the console. And like, we'll find out after the fact or in the deep dive presentation next year. That'll be a thing. So I do think that that's a possibility that it's a thing, but I don't think they'll tell us that to help their software sales, even though it would. That's just my personal prediction on it, because I just think it's so not Nintendo to get into the weeds on like, oh, the games you're buying now will work better on this next console. Like, I just don't even think they'll acknowledge it. Like, they won't even act like it's a thing at all until it's like in our face as like an option on the eShop. And I also, this comes a part of, you know, me not knowing all the legwork that needs to go into it. How hard is it for developers to enable DLSS and take advantage of the chipset on the next gen Nintendo Switch compared to how they built it for the current Switch? You know, like, is that a simple thing and it's just automatically going to be able to use some extra power to go to 60 FPS and a 4K resolution when docked via upscaling? Or is that a lot of work? Because depending on what that looks like, they may charge for that, developer by developer or not. You know,
they might charge. Like, there might be an upgrade, or you might have to buy it outright. I don't know how it all work, but you know, I have had experience with DLSS through games on PC.
Right.
I think I've mentioned it before. Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask with DLSS support, where it's running in 4K up to, I could play Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time up to, I think, 240 frames per second on my PC. Right.
Yeah.
But the thing is, this is the exciting part, right? Is that this isn't Nintendo working on these games. These are just fans, dude. Fans that are doing this. So if they can do that, and that's why I brought it up before on previous episode, that imagine if the fans can do this. What could Nintendo do with NSO games? Like, if you want to take NSO to the next level, do that. Because like, I really want a full-on Ocarina of Time remake. I would love that. Who wouldn't, right? But I will tell you this. I have a mod at Nintendo 64 that has HDMI, and you know, it's as good as the original hardware can get, but it is no comparison to how well both those games run on PC. It's insane how, and Mario 64 runs at 4K 60. It's insane. It looks great. It plays great. And these are guys, fans on the internet who don't work for Nintendo. They're not professional developers or have a development studio. And that's what they're able to do. So what could Nintendo do? Which leads me to believe that, hey, if they can do this, how hard is it?
Dude,
It might not be that hard, but
I'm hoping it's not.
I think they're sitting there thinking, well, or we could leave this game looking relatively similar to how it is, and then we can remake it in 10 years and sell it to you again.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that backwards compatibility will be a thing, and I think they will also show it in the trailer. And the reason why I say this is because of the little sidekick that comes out in October. All right, that little sidekick with a Joy-Con controller attachment the
charging unit.
They very nicely attached it to the side of the Nintendo Switch stock.
Oh, yeah.
Like saying, hey, this is a little sidekick here. And I think that little sidekick will also make a cameo in the reveal for the Switch 2. And so,
oh man, it's almost like it perfectly exists to charge things that might not charge on the Switch too.
Yeah, and that comes out in
Yeah.
October, right?
exactly.
Right,
And
with
so
Mario Party Jamboree.
Yeah.
if you've seen some of the patents, actually the patent from yesterday, it's an updated patent, and it shows what could be the new like controller system for the Nintendo Switch 2. Now,
We'll get to that in a bit. That's actually one of our topics.
so okay, so I won't get too much into that.
Yeah.
But the little sidekick there is kind of, for me, is the hope proof. Okay, Nintendo just added that because within the trailer they're gonna show somebody picking up those sidekick controllers on the side, just to show that little dock, and then just play Mario Odyssey or something like that with it after they've been playing a Switch 2 game. And I think it's gonna be a combination of what you said, son, bro, and a combination of what I think. It's gonna be like, okay, they're not even gonna acknowledge it too much. All they're gonna do is just pick up the Joy-Cons, play Mario Odyssey a little bit. That's it.
Oh yeah, I should say too, I don't think that they won't show backwards compatibility in the trailer. I don't think they'll show upgraded visuals on games. Like 4K games, DLSS works on your old Switch library. I hope they do, but I do think that they will advertise backwards compatibility in the reveal trailer. Like, yeah, like to your point, and they'll do it subtle, like, oh, that's Mario Odyssey, you know.
Yeah.
But it might say something like your whole Switch library works, you know, like it might be like a quick thing, but I do think they'll advertise it.
Yeah. So that little psychic for me, like, okay, it's gonna be in the trailer, like, just saying hi to us. Hey, hi, I'm here.
Well, we spent a long time obviously talking about the reveal and release, because obviously, like, this is the exciting stuff going on, and we're gonna keep, like, until Nintendo officially reveals it, there's gonna keep being rumors and speculation and conversations. And the exciting thing is, guys, the longest it could be is 7 months.
Yep.
The longest it could be. We're already in a countdown. Nintendo gave us the countdown. The longest it could be is 7 months for reveals. So that's pretty exciting, man. Like, every month that ticks by, every weekend that go, I was counting weekends at one point, like how many weekends there could possibly be left before it's the week of the reveal.
Yeah.
Dude, it's exciting stuff. But you know what's also exciting? Nintendo Switch software, or Switch 2 software in this case. Eric, what is our second topic, buddy? Because we got some stuff about the software.
Game rumors apparently are pouring in. On last week's show, we had Paul Gale drop news that there's gonna be major games coming out during the launch window from AAA devs, third-party devs, excuse me, who weren't necessarily excited about Switch in 2017. Now we have new rumors from Nash Weedle about Assassin's Creed Shadows being a launch window game, which has been corroborated by Necro Felipe from Universal Nintendo. In addition, Nash Weedle has stated Assassin's Creed Mirage, Valhalla, Odyssey, and Origins will eventually arrive as well.
With the latter two being in a bundle.
You have the wrong two there.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I'm not even reading it exactly, so I wasn't worried about it.
You know what?
Then,
nobody asked you. This is my topic, bitch. He also claims that Ubisoft is going to bring is going to be betting really big on Switch 2. They have outsourced some of their older AC ports, and he said he'd be surprised to find out that Skull and Bones has Switch 2 port underway as well. Obviously, the ink is already dried, and we all know about Call of Duty contract beginning with Switch 2, since Call of Duty is not arriving on Switch this year. What other games to expect / want? This is sort of an all-in strategy by Ubisoft. Does that excite you?
Well, I'm gonna just start off by saying Star Wars Outlaws. It's not out yet, so I obviously reviews aren't all on. Like, maybe it ends up sucking. But as much as I like the Last Jedi, one of the things I didn't like about the EA Star Wars, little couple of games they did there, is the movement just didn't feel natural to me. I don't know why. Just something about it felt like Xbox 360 era. Like, it just didn't. They're good games, and I really enjoyed them. Jedi Survivor and all, but like, it just they didn't. How do I put it? They didn't do what I wanted them to do with the movement. I don't know. It didn't feel fluid. I guess maybe is the way to put it. It just didn't feel fluid. But then Star Wars Outlaws, all of the gameplay looks extremely fluid. Extremely fluid. Look, Assassin's Creed games are pretty fluid, and it's made by people who make those kind of games. So and I'm not going to like dive deep into all the stuff about Outlaws, but that's just like one of the games that, hey, if we're talking about a game that I want to come over, a game that's also from Ubisoft, supposedly going all in, and again, this is assuming these rumors are true. That's awesome. I mean, we already heard like Square Enix earlier this year too, where they said, hey, we're going like all in on a multi-platform strategy. We're going to kind of get away from these console exclusives, but you could argue that also means like, hey guys, you might not get like a triangle strategy sort of exclusive game on a Nintendo system, but that also means that, hey, something like Final Fantasy VII Remake, stuff like that is going to be on everything instead of just being on Sony. So like the other side of the coin is who doesn't want all the latest and greatest Square Enix games on a Switch too? So those are kind of like the ones that I'm looking forward to, like a Kingdom Hearts 4 coming to Switch.
We're getting all of them.
Yeah, I agree.
Just everything's coming.
Well, Square Enix for sure. That's literally what they said, right?
And Kingdom Hearts, all three.
What about GTA 6?
Ooh, now that one I don't know.
It's to be determined because of like how powerful is the hardware going to have to be. I think it's just going to come down to that. That's it. If
and
it can run,
PC is not even announced for GTA 6 yet.
What excites me, if Ubisoft's going all in and they make AAA games, like it's AAA, that's what they do. They're going all in, then that tells me Switch 2. I mean, again, rumors, but that tells me Switch 2 is powerful enough for AAA. So GTA 6 shouldn't be a problem. Shouldn't.
Yep.
Shouldn't. I just don't know if Rockstar will make sacrifices.
I mean, they're not going
to be able to get it to run.
GTA 6 is gonna run on the Series S, right? So there's a world where it's possible, but it's like not previous gen at all. Like it's only current gen consoles.
Yeah.
So a lot of the, and it's also giant in scope from everything we've heard and the leaks. I mean, I don't know. I'm iffy on GTA 6. I could see it being on Switch 2, but I don't think it'll be there at launch. That's what I think. I think it'll take longer. I think there will be potentially some sacrifices that are made to make it run.
Yeah. I definitely see Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
No doubt I see that coming. I do truly believe that GTA 5 will come to Switch 2.
It better.
It'll be funny. We'll all laugh and be like, oh my God, GTA 5's on another system. How long is this game going to go for? And I bet you it does really well. So I think that would make a lot of sense. With Ubisoft guys, like, again, Nate, Eric, you guys know I've mentioned Ubisoft like a million times on a third-party developer that I think is going to support the shit out of Switch 2 at launch. Ubisoft loves to bring tons of games to the launch window. They always have, not just for Nintendo, but for all console manufacturers. This makes a ton of sense because we got a lot of the previous Assassin's Creed games, right, on Switch 1. And we don't have any of these games. I specifically remember Ubisoft India working on the Assassin's Creed Origins 60 FPS patch for the PS5 and Xbox Series. I could see them possibly being one of the Ubisoft teams that is working on the Switch 2 port. I think that would make a lot of sense. I think all of these would sell actually really well. Valhalla, I loved it. I 100% at that game, which is probably crazy because it was a huge game. But I 100%ed it and got the platinum. I really enjoyed that game. And same with Odyssey. And I never made it to Origins, even though I have it. I just I couldn't find a time window to go through that game. But from what I've heard a lot of people say, and I don't know if you guys have played all these, but a lot of people have said specifically about Valhalla, Odyssey, and Origins, those three, is that the order from best to worst is best as Origins, then Odyssey, then Valhalla. And I actually loved Valhalla and Odyssey. So that would be really cool. I think those would sell so good. Imagine being able to play those games portably without any performance sacrifices. Like if this could run portably at, obviously the screen's going to be 1080 if rumors are to be believed, right? And if it runs at 1080 at 60 in portable mode, that'd be sick. That would sell great, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Free Metroid Hat brings up a one here saying, do you guys think we can get Stalker 2 on Switch? What studio does that again? Studio Stalker 2?
Well, it's a Game Pass game. It's a day one Game Pass game.
Yeah, I wonder if it was a Microsoft, because I think Microsoft's going all in.
I do too.
Oh yeah.
I actually wanted to kind of talk about that.
Yeah, go for it, man.
Well, so right before we came on, I was on Twitter, and one of the Twitter users, I think his name's Shinobi602. Sure, you guys are familiar. And then another person on Twitter, and excuse me, I don't remember the name, but they were both talking about a huge Xbox game, huge Xbox like property that's going to be announced in like a week or two for PS5. And I was like reading through the comments and the back and forth, and it actually seemed like pretty legit. And I guess I've already believed this. I really do believe Microsoft has plans to go third party. I don't know how they're going to do it, and I'm not paid to understand how they do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But obviously there's a lot of different angles they could go with the Xbox, as far as, they already have it on. They have it on freaking Amazon Prime sticks, on the 4K sticks. Like, you can plug in your TV stick and play Xbox. And we all know that was their plan, to get Xbox Game Pass on everything. So I don't know if they're going to release another console after we get out of this generation. They might, but I would presume that's their last one. And because of all of this, I really believe they're going to go full on third party and I think they see an opportunity for them to be number one as a third party developer, as a software company. We can be number one. We can't be number one in consoles. I think they've finally, I don't know, raised the flag and said, you know what? At least internally, we can't beat Nintendo and we can't beat Sony.
They can if they do something, one move, make Minecraft exclusive to Xbox.
Right. But I think they've thrown in the towel, honestly.
Yeah.
I think they don't like losing. Microsoft, we know they don't like losing. They want to be number one, and I think they see an opportunity for that with software.
Yeah, Phil Spencer was pretty clear about, like, on that one podcast he went on. It was like a regular podcast too, but he was just being super transparent. And then, of course, this was like before the Activision Blizzard merger was like done, and he was definitely down that week because it looked like the whoever's the overseas regulatory was going to block it. It looked pretty like it was going to go down. And he was very like honest, like, well, we lost the worst generation to lose because everybody built out their digital libraries during the PS4 generation, and we lost that with the Xbox One, and we don't. Yeah, and so I think since then, and even him has been more on brand with Xbox being like its own thing and still like a game on Xbox. But if you actually listen to what Satya Nadella, their CEO, says, he treats it Microsoft gaming, and it's like anywhere and everywhere. And so I'm on board with that too. They've already announced they're going to do another console, and I think that may be their last as well. Yeah. I think that they'll do one more primary flagship. They'll give you some incentive to play it on there, but I think they're going to just see Game Pass numbers grow outside of their primary console and PC and other platforms that will take it. And then they're just going to start releasing all their games on PlayStation and Nintendo. And I mean, the shoe-in games day one for Switch 2 are, well, I guess they sold off Hi-Fi Rush and the rights. We'll get that either way, but Sea of Thieves will come over. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 should be a lock because they're for sure in a 10-year binding agreement for the Call of Duty games. Diablo 4,
I agree.
There's going to be so many different just games that they'll pull the lever on, day one for Switch 2. And the new stuff that they're developing. Like, could we expect Perfect Dark, which would be a
100%.
Obvious,
Why not?
Right. Yeah. I think they're going to leave maybe their console exclusives, but I think it's going to turn into like what Sony's doing with the PC ports, where you're going to see fewer and fewer console exclusives and maybe a timed exclusive to have still some incentive to go buy their hardware. But we'll slowly see them shift into more of a software company, which is also what Microsoft is, right? So, I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. They're just like going back to their original roots. And again, they see an opportunity to be number one. And then a few weeks ago, I was reading an article and I was actually doing some research for another podcast that I was just a guest on. And I was looking at the investments into cloud gaming, right? And it was showing a pie chart of what companies are investing the most dollars into cloud gaming. And again, if you look at a lot of the stuff that was talked about in court when Microsoft was, at court with, I forget who it was, but the regulatory agencies.
FTC was
FTC.
Yeah.
Thank you. A lot was revealed about how they want to own cloud gaming. And every move they're making is tied to that because that's what all of this is. If you can play it anywhere, it's going to be based on the cloud, right? Like you playing it on your Roku stick, the Xbox isn't in the stick, it's in the cloud, man. And that's what they're going for.
It was wasn't it Ubisoft that in the EU, the CMA, that was who is the regulatory board. The CMA like blocked them from having the cloud gaming rights to Activision Blizzard games in that part of the world because that was something that tied like that's part of their deal. They have to offload the Activision Blizzard streaming rights specifically for the cloud to, I think, Ubisoft. I could be wrong about that, but because they just felt like they were too powerful otherwise. But all that's but all bringing that full circle back to the Switch stuff and Ubisoft or not. And Nate, I actually like Star Wars Outlaws as a prediction. I think that's going to be good, and I agree with you too on the Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order. They were great, but I felt like they tried to make them. And I'm setting this up for a transition. They tried to make them Dark Souls style, but they weren't as good at that fluid movement like FromSoft has figured out. And so they kind of felt a little bit clunky. But that said, I do actually think we'll get Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor both on the Switch 2. And I think a big, maybe day one launch game that could be behind the scenes right now is Elden Ring. And they fully do it with the DLC packed in all in one. And that's sold. The game itself is over 25 million units strong. The DLC is well over 5 million units. And that was like numbers that FromSoft released a while back. I think that could be like a big heavy hitter third party game. And if it's that and Baldur's Gate 3, that alone from a third party perspective is going to just open the floodgates to tell all your average consumers, hey, you have something that is a product that you can go walk into any store and buy, not necessarily easily at the launch, but it's going to play the third party stuff that the Steam Deck does, but from a Nintendo console. So you also get your Marios, your Zeldas, and these other major third party consoles. I think if Nintendo can secure lining up a couple massive games like that to launch, and why would Bandai Namco and FromSoft not want to launch Elden Ring, so I feel like something like that could be a really big, message to the gamers that this is going to be a system that's capable of playing everything that you know and love across modern gaming for the last 5 to 7 years.
And to add to that, I have to say Nintendo is the king of mobile. Okay, because I've had a Steam Deck. I think I actually tested and returned an IOG Ally, whatever thing that.
ROG Ally, ROG, yes.
Yeah, ROG, yeah. And so the one thing I found on both of them was that they overheat. And so when you call support, they tell you, "Oh, you go into the settings, you lower this, you lower it down to the." I'm like, okay, if I bought this, why am I going to lower it to the Nintendo Switch power settings so that I can play the games? Nintendo has been doing mobile gaming forever, so I'm pretty sure that when they do release a Switch with more power, they have perfected that cooling that the Switch needs to produce what they need to. Because Nintendo they always do exactly what they need to do to just enough to make it happen. They don't really go overboard. They don't try to too much. Like the Nintendo Switch is just enough to meet demand for that Nintendo Switch lifetime, right? And so with the Switch 2, I think they'll make it more powerful, but they won't go beast, like a PC.
Right.
They go just enough because That way they can control the system, keep the cooling down, and make sure that the system runs, right? It runs. And so, not to mention the Nintendo operating system, which needs an update, but still works well with the games.
Yeah,
So,
and they're going to prioritize battery life and user experience and ease of use, unlike any of these other handheld consoles have. I mean, it's not even a competition. Like Nintendo, you can't just turn on and have zero technical knowledge and work a Steam Deck or a ROG Ally, but a Nintendo Switch, you can almost be like 5 years old or less and still be able to power that on and play your favorite Mario game.
You know how frustrating it is to go on the shop and then look at a game. Oh, I want to buy it. Oh, it's not compatible.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's lame.
Right.
I fully expect Elden Ring, by the way. I think I've mentioned this a handful of times when we've talked about different third-party games. So I totally agree with you, Bro. Like, why would you not? There's so much money to be made there with a complete edition. The same with Baldur's Gate. It makes way too much sense. Same with Diablo 4. Of course, there's a new expansion coming out in the second half of this year.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Again, all of that will already be out. So there's just no reason to not do that. And I look at some of the other games in the catalog. I could see Halo Master Chief Collection. That would make a lot of sense. And that would be crazy just from the standpoint that for all of us, old heads that grew up with the first Xbox, we know that Halo was the mascot for Xbox, and obviously things have changed since then, but it's still very much tied to Xbox. So for that to release on other consoles would be a huge deal. And of course, the biggest thing I think about too is like Rare. Like so Rare's been working primarily on operating system and like back end stuff for Xbox. When they did the avatars, when they were copying Nintendo,
right? The me ripoff on the 360. Yeah.
So Rare was working on that. That's what Microsoft tasked them to do, which is sad.
Yeah.
Now I know Rare's changed a lot over the years. The Stamper brothers are obviously no longer there. They're long gone. But I gotta imagine there's some talent over there. And fact of the matter is, like, they have some of that IP that would be perfect for Nintendo, like Perfect Dark. No pun intended. Banjo, of course. And I know recent rumors suggest that Banjo's not being worked on, but I don't buy anything, honestly, that comes out of Microsoft's mouth. I truly do not believe anything they say. And if they go full third party, man, wouldn't you want to talk to Nintendo? I mean, we already got Banjo and Smash. That would make just so much sense. Like, if you want to make money, give a new Banjo to Nintendo fans, right?
Yeah.
It just so much of this stuff makes sense for them to go third party. And Fallout 2. Fallout. Would love to have Fallout on Switch 2.
Oh, Fallout.
I love Fallout.
I'm saying I don't want to Fallout. I don't want to Fallout.
That should be a day and date, right? Honestly, right now with the hype because of the show and how many users have hopped back into Fallout, like,
real.
Yeah,
it really should. It should be a day and date.
I
Fallout
saw
4.
Fallout, and just throw it on there.
Yeah.
We even do a Fallout collection, better yet.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know if they'll do that still.
New Vegas would be sick.
Mm-hmm.
There's one move that I don't think anybody expects that I think will happen, and it's with Sony. And I'm hoping this move happens, and it's because Sony is involved with Nintendo now, at least at another department, the movie area with the Legend of Zelda live action stuff.
That's
and
true.
At least there's some handshaking going on between them, some work, and hopefully Sony is so happy with the profits of the Legend of Zelda live action movie that they, hey, you know what? Let's get our older catalog and let's bring some of the games to Nintendo Switch too. So I'm like hoping to get Spider-Man 1, Miles Morales, not the later one, but at least the first Spider-Man and Miles Morales. Those two games I love. I actually binge played them before Spider-Man 2 came out. and that's my favorite franchise. That action games on PlayStation.
They're great, fantastic.
And so with that, I think there's other games in the PlayStation arena that could fit that category. They're a little old. People are not buying them much, but you breathe new life into them by, hey, let's re-release them on Nintendo Switch.
Put the Nathan Drake collection on Switch.
Yeah.
Have they done any Spider-Man games or announced anything for PC yet, or have they not?
Not that I know of. Not that I know of.
I was just wondering. I couldn't remember seeing if those games are. I know they've done it with God of War, and that's a huge Sony franchise. So it's like if God of War is on the table, I figure Spider-Man would be too. But
and The Last of Us, of course, that's a huge one.
Mm-hmm.
I remember with Spider-Man, specifically Spider-Man 2, the amount of money that Sony spent. You guys remember when that news came out? The marketing money, like over 300 million, right? It was insane. And you think about that, and from what I've gathered, based on the articles I've read, and you guys probably know this too, the amount of money it cost to advertise this game and develop it versus how much it sold does not equate at all. They did not make money. They lost money on this. It's a fantastic game, but they lost a lot of money. So you got to look at it from that perspective too. And as a publicly shared company, what is the best thing to do for the shareholders? If you're operating in that manner, the best thing to do is take this game that didn't meet the sales goals and release it on Nintendo and see if it can. Like, if you could take a game that was a massive profit loss, but is a great game, and then release it on another console and get out of the red, why would you not do that? And you almost have to, from being a publicly shared company, right? To be financially responsible in that sense. So I think there is an opportunity there because some of these games, like I said, have undersold, which is why I think it's an absolute shoo-in that we get the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy, because Square's been so disappointed with those sales. It's like, I don't know what their sales goals are, man, but it's unfortunate because I played them both and I love them. But man, they would sell so good on Switch.
Yeah, I'm currently still playing Rebirth. I stopped halfway once I made it to the open area. But it's I think that there's a possibility that Sony might, at least
we are getting Horizon Lego.
That's there you go. So there's a little kind of handshake.
Other than Nintendo, because I don't think they'll be friendly to any of the other companies. Nope. I think the lines are going to really start to get blurred with console exclusives. I mean, it's going to be it's going to turn into a little bit more timed exclusive.
Yeah,
and there's going to be maybe some franchises that are more iffy than others, but for the most part, with modern AAA games and how long they take to develop and the budgets, and to your point, Thunderstash, the marketing dollars that these companies spend behind them, at a certain point, people are going to say, wait a minute, does exclusives make business sense anymore? And they're really going to have to evaluate that, because it does drive console sales to a certain extent, but if you're limiting the reach of all of your software that comes out as an exclusive, you have to start doing the math.
And Phil's already been talking in that manner. You've noticed that, right? When he says, we want gaming to be for everyone and this and that, it's a great message. It's a feel-good message, and it's designed to be a feel-good message for gamers. But in reality, that's backed by the dollar. Because if you say that and you do that and your games are everywhere, it's all about making more money. That's really what it comes down to. I do believe Phil probably believes that in his heart a little bit, because I think he is a gamer, like legit at his core. But as a businessman and someone who is in a very high up position at Microsoft, this is all about the money. And obviously Game Pass is at a standstill, right? The subscription numbers haven't went up. There's some heat there. They got to make some moves, because Microsoft will make cuts. We've already seen them make cuts. We've seen great development studios go down in flames.
Well, it'll be telling what they're banking on, because they just announced a whole new host of price increases. What they're banking on is Black Ops 6 coming out and driving all the numbers they wanted to see.
Yeah, I saw that.
Hey,
So-
Black Ops 6 comes out in October 20 something,
Yep.
and maybe the Switch. It could be a good.
We're on the note of third party games. We're right in that season that Tom Henderson said the next 12 to 18 months it's going to be coming to, and a bunch of the end of trailers are going to show next gen console. But
Yeah, so maybe the Switch 2 trailer can show I'll say Call of Duty Black Ops in the trailer, kind of displaying, hey, we have third party support now. But
I
think
expect that.
I think once Nintendo announces the thing, the floodgates open for all these developers that want to start advertising their games. It's just until they do it.
yeah.
I just wonder if Nintendo's concerned about leaks, because you have to control this narrative if you're Nintendo.
Yeah.
And they want to. And it's like, man, between we got PAX coming up, they're going to be there. I read today that they have the largest booth at PAX.
They do.
Yeah, Stealth 40K on Twitter tweeted it out that the official map hadn't been released yet, but he heard that Nintendo has the biggest individual booth at PAX West this year.
I'm waiting for my passes.
I was thinking about it. It's like, all right, so Zelda, right? Of course, Zelda's going to be shown there because it's coming out in September. But they're not going to. I really don't see them showing Emio. That is not a show floor game at all. Mario Party Jamboree, possibly, if it's ready. I mean, it's not going to be out yet, but if it's ready, and Mario and Luigi, if that could be. But what else? I mean, do you think they'll show anything else, or do you think we have any other games that are going to be announced in September that are coming out this year? Because I truly believe that tied to the Switch reveal and release date is Metroid Prime 2 and 3. You have to release these games. You have to. There's generations that don't know anything about it. If you really want to bring Metroid into, the hierarchy of Nintendo at the top of the pyramid with Mario and Zelda, you have to do this. You cannot just give us Metroid Prime and not give 2 and 3. So I think once those start coming out, though, that's going to give us a better idea of when Metroid Prime 4 is coming out.
Yeah.
And then the Switch too.
I can see the next Direct giving us a release date for Metroid Prime 4 next year, maybe like in later in the year, June, July, and then them not shadow dropping Metroid Prime 2 and 3, but actually maybe February or March, because I don't think they're going to release anything this year anymore. I think what they're going to do is fill out half of the calendar next year. They only have Donkey Kong. They need February, March, April, and May. And so I think that if they do launch a system like in June, right? Let's say around that time, first 6 months, I think we still need games for those first half of the year. And normally the second half of the last Nintendo Direct, that's what it normally does. It sets up the beginning of the next year. And so I think that with this Direct, we could get that release trailer for Metroid Prime 4 finally, and then Metroid Prime 2 and 3 release, but not shadow drop like they did with Metroid Prime, like more like further up. Zelda, I want to say it again. The ports, that we're talking about the same Zelda ports for
Twilight and Wind Waker.
Oh, yeah.
How many directs have?
I think they exist, guys.
They have to be on every predictions list until the end of time, until they finally happen.
It exists. It's just, is it going to be Switch 1 or 2? I think at this point, because I think it exists.
Yeah, I think it could be Switch 1. I mean, they should release it on Switch 2 and just call it 4K instead of HD.
I agree.
But then again, Mario Odyssey 2. I'm not Mario Galaxy 2, not Mario Odyssey 2. Galaxy 2. That could be another port that could.
I do think so too, because it makes no sense to not include Galaxy 2 in the 3D Mario All-Stars collection unless you're planning on making that a standalone release.
Yeah.
Which would make sense because, in my opinion, it is superior to Galaxy 1. Both fantastic games. Amazing. But I would prefer if I could only have one Galaxy 2. And so I think a lot of other people probably believe that too, that they're both great, but Galaxy 2 would take the cake. So that would be the game that would be a standalone release. But
Yeah.
I mean, if we're getting a 3D Mario at launch, do you want to release Mario Galaxy 2 standalone this close?
Yeah.
Will that?
I think it's further off. I think 3D Mario is going to get the next flagship game, and that's it. And I saw an interesting theory about Wind Waker and Twilight Princess that they might be the perfect games for Nintendo to support the Switch 1 with after the Switch 2 is out. You know, like those games that are just here's Switch 1 content, because we still are going to have a roadmap of games that come out for Switch 1 after we've launched our next gen hardware, and that could be what they are as well. We don't know.
Could be.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, for me, one of the biggest games that I'm looking for, hopefully from a third party. I know we started with Ubisoft. It would be another Mario Rabbids game. Bring a third one in. It's kind of right in that timeline. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for.
Will they continue ahead? The head of that little game thing really leaving the company. You think they continue?
I hope so. That's what I'm hoping for. But
it's possible. That's also a game that I think if you could make an argument for one getting a patch and update, it's that one, because the Ubisoft CEO literally, like, that was one of the big first hints at backwards compatibility. Was in an interview, he was like, Nintendo kind of advised us that it's better to release one game of this genre per console, and we felt like we could get two out in the same, and we're disappointed with the sales of the Switch version of Mario. I'm trying to say Galaxy, but what are we talking about? Sparks of Hope. Okay, there we go.
What is that?
Yeah. Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. But they were so unhappy with it that they're like, well, we will update it and we will continue to sell it for the next console. They said something to that effect.
They did.
I
remember.
So I wonder if that's their early move, is to do an all-in-one release with the DLC and a patch upgrade. And then maybe if that does good enough, we do see it come back for a third installment.
I don't see why they wouldn't. Easy money.
It sold 3 million, so granted the first one sold 10, but that's been over 6 years.
That's true too.
I mean,
3 million's not bad, but you wonder what Ubisoft's maybe they spent a lot more on it. I mean, the cinematics look incredible in that game.
Oh, they do.
Where is that?
They do.
I don't know. That's just kind of what I was hoping for. So
I don't think we need, like, when I read this rumor, like, I was excited. I was reading on Twitter about these, Assassin's Creed games and all that, and I saw Skull and Bones. I just laughed. I'm like, let it go.
That one,
just let it go, man.
Let it go.
You can buy that on Woot right now. I think for $10 or $15, the full complete edition, like with, how Ubisoft releases like Far Cry 6 Gold Edition for $130, and it just comes with the season pass and like nothing else. It's the full edition. I saw Wario64 tweet about it, and Best Buy just had it. They're having their deal of the day. Are you guys following that?
$10. I don't follow it regularly, games. But yeah.
So 3 days ago, Sonic Superstars on Switch, $10.
Oh,
beat that for I bought 3 of them. I bought the max. Can't beat that. Because I'll give 2 other ones as gifts. But total steal. And so every night at midnight Eastern time, so 10 p.m. my time, they announce which game is $10 and it goes up for sale. So keep an eye out for that. But they had Skull and Bones on there, I think a day or two ago, for $10. And I go into the comments just because I know it's gonna be pure comedy. Sure enough, it was. Like, people just trashed on this game. They're like, this isn't even gonna make it till the end of the year. They're not even gonna support it prior to the end of the year. No. These live service games, like, these companies got to learn. I understand that they all jumped on that live service bandwagon because they want it to be the next, big looter shooter, Overwatch, whatever. And they didn't realize that, hey, 3, 4, 5 years have went by now. Nobody wants to play this. Nobody wants to do this. You've inundated us with microtransactions, and we're sick of it. And they still release the game. Suicide Squad. That was suicide. You shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, legit.
That's
It's
my
al-
take.
it-
We don't
it's
need
almost-
skull and bones.
Yeah, no, and it's almost good though to see. Honestly, it's bad to say, but I'm almost half happy to see a lot of live service games fail miserably. That's just because I feel like companies are learning the lesson that they can't just do an easy cash grab and try to recreate like, a game that went viral before and do their spin on it, and it's just easy money for years and years to come. I just think it's a really bad business practice, and when the only reason you're playing a game and paying money is to get more skins, it's just there's a lot of people that enjoy that. It's fine. The ones that are popular, let them be popular and continue to get updated and live on, but don't dissolve all your best studios and focus them on to creating live service games that may or may not make it. And I think most companies now see the risk behind putting too much money into that direction. So I think that's a good thing to see the market just kind of say, we don't want all this.
I do too. It's one of the rare times I will ever say that I hope the game doesn't do good. But I say that personally, I think for the greater good of all of us and for gaming,
Right.
that if we go down this path and
good.
it continues to be successful, it's going to be bad news for all of us. We don't need this. We don't want this. And you know what? If it ever did go down that path, I've already thought it out. I have a backup plan. It's fine. I have tons of classic video games behind me. I'll go full on retro.
Yep.
It's still great, but yeah, I don't like that direction at all. And I really hope these companies, take a clue from all of this.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Perfect. All right. We should probably move on to our next topic then, huh?
Yeah.
Yep.
What do we got, Thunderstash?
All right. So there's more stuff to talk about here with Switch 2. And this is some good stuff. So the first thing we'll talk about is I'll ask you guys, do you remember the old leaks and rumors around some sort of magnetic connection for the new controllers? Nintendo released a patent showing off this very thing being experimented with on Switch hardware. And Mike, I think you know a lot about this.
Yeah.
Because you're always in the patents and I've seen it all. So do you want to comment first on this and give us, kind of your take on what you've discovered?
Sure. So
You can share screens too if you want, Mike.
okay, let me pull up the little image here.
Back in the early days of the internet, I'm talking when the Nintendo Dolphin was a thing and we're waiting on what the N64 successor was going to be. I specifically remember going to websites like Nintendo Dojo and like planetgamecube.com and Planet N, and they would dig around in patents back in the day. And Mike, you're like one of the few people I think who still does it, but I think you're one of the only people who consistently does it.
Yeah.
And I've seen it over the years though. Like, yeah, not all these patents come true, but there's a lot of information to be gleaned from them, and they're very interesting. So
yeah, and that's what I always tell viewers when I cover them. This is not a product we're covering. Because this could be a feature. It just proved that Nintendo is working on something that might or might not make it to final product, right? And that's what we cover all of them, because we've already seen edition after edition Switch come out before they release the Switch patent for like an OLED or whatever. The edition comes out like months later for like a different edition. So with this one, this was released yesterday, the 13th, right? And so this is what potentially could be the actual first look at the internals of the Nintendo Switch 2. And one of our viewers went ahead and snapshot it and kind of dotted all the areas that are new within the patent here. And so right off the bat, you can see here that the first Nintendo Switch patent for the regular model has one slot. This one has two of them for some reason. One slot here, two slots here. Then right below it says magnetic force sensor. So just to explain what you guys are looking at, this is the internals of the Switch. So you're looking at the screen here. This is the left side. The Joy-Con goes here, and the right Joy-Con goes here. So this will be like the center here. That's why it says left terminal. The Joy-Con goes on this side and then goes on this side. And so we see these two slots. We see the magnetic force sensor, which actually, kind of confirms that rumor from back in the day of them having magnetic Joy-Cons attached to the sides. We have an ambient light sensor, which to me could be something related to maybe Nintendo Switch having this light that kind of senses where you're at, and depending on that, the screen adjusts its brightness. Like if you're outside and you're looking at the person playing portable mode, then the screen will get brighter, right? And the iPhone has that right now. Like at night, you see it turns kind of like a yellowish at night, to protect your eyes. And so this could be something related to that. We have a temperature sensor here, and we have a cooling fan. None of these things are ever pointed in any patent of a Nintendo Switch. We always have this. We have this. We have the battery. We have the terminals. The acceleration sensor, I think I've seen it before, and the angular velocity, I've seen it before also. Of course, we have the speakers, we have the display, we have the sound input here, codec circuit, touch panel controller, the RAM, flash memory, and terminals. But yeah, this is basically one of the patents from yesterday that showed for the first time the magnetic thing here, the magnetic force sensor. And that's the recap. That's the whole kit and caboodle. That's the whole thing.
Yeah. In other words, guys, like all those rumors about like the magnet things on the Joy-Cons and all, or whatever the new controllers are. This is just proof that like Nintendo has been working on it. And it might not be exactly the way that it shows and how it works. Like, the patents are public. And so it's usually implemented in a slightly different way. But it's like the rumors are lining up, the shipping documents are lining up. Now we have a patent where they've already attempted this in the last year or two. Yeah, like we're going to have some sort of magnetic thing happening with the Joy-Cons or whatever they call the controllers. It's just happening.
And one thing that to add is that this patent continues and it talks about the actual how the controllers were. It won't attach like we thought. It's still a rail, but instead of clicking, it's a magnet. So within the same patent, if this is not the whole patent, this is just that screenshot, but within the same exact patent, it actually talks about the rail too. It mentions the side. There's a whole bunch of new images that we've never seen before on other patents before, and so it talks about the rail. It talks about the Joy-Con or whatever coming down and then attaching it to the magnet.
Cool. That could be a cool way to solve for, like, I've always seen people discuss how they feel like, and I feel like it too, the Switch, if you're even like a brand new one straight out of the box, if you slide both Joy-Cons on there and you just try to give it, it has a little give to it, compared to you hold a Switch Lite and it's all one piece and you're like, oh, this is kind of nice. It's entirely solid. And so maybe those magnets, that extra connection solves for any of that give, making it feel more premium.
Yeah, and the reason why it has a magnetic force sensor is because it's not a regular magnet, guys. It's an electromagnetic field, which is magnets controlled by electricity. It could be turned off and turned on, and so Nintendo could actually control the amount of what do you call that? When the magnets get close to each other, right? With the software update. Oh, the magnets are not pulling enough power to make sure that the Joy-Cons are well connected and in place. Then we'll issue a software update so that that magnet can have a little more strength. And so that's the cool thing about having electromagnetic controlled by power is that you can also update it and make sure that it works well with the software.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
And I do think that, what else did we learn from those accessory manufacturers that said the magnet thing? Because this seems to back up that all of that info's more than likely accurate. And I think it's on here that, backwards compatibility and everything else. And what are third-party manufacturers going to come up with having electromagnetic, connections? But it's interesting if it's a rail system still, because I actually thought I wonder if this is just entirely how they're going to attach. But if we're still sliding, I mean, I guess it'll make it that much more secure.
Yeah. And the other thing is this second slot, which is crazy. It's the second slot here that is not found any. People say, oh, it could be an SD card, but in the first patent for the Nintendo Switch, the regular patent, there's never a second slot, and it does have an SD card. So the SD card is never kind of shown in this way. And when we look at these two slots, they both have the same exact description. First slot F1, and then we have a second slot F1. So they're both the same exact thing. They're both either they're SD cards or they're game cards. And one thing I was thinking about, I'm like, this is crazy. I know it'll probably sound crazy, but I'm like, maybe this took me back when PlayStation, right? When I bought Final Fantasy, the game couldn't fit in one CD, so you had a pack with 3 CDs in it, 3 discs for Final Fantasy. Maybe the bigger games will come in two little cartridges, right? You open the back and it has 2 cartridges where you insert both of them inside there, just to get those bigger games, and they can divide them in 2 cartridges and continue to play them as you go on.
Maybe. I just don't know if they'd give that much love to physical owners. We seem to be on our last leg, it seems like.
Yeah, and wouldn't it more likely just be that maybe the 3D NAND and all the stuff they're doing for the new Switch cartridges has to have its own slot, so then they just made a Switch 1 cartridge slot also?
That's true. That
was
true.
what I was thinking. Maybe it's a Switch 1 slot.
That's true.
Because I was hoping it would be like a 3DS situation where there would just be a slightly different, notch at the end of it, but it's in the same slot. But it's possible that that's not, as easy to pull off if they're changing enough with the cartridge. So maybe they actually do have to have a second slot for the Switch 1 games.
This could also be 1 slot, but with 2 different readings. So you look at the same, you're looking at the same cartridge, but it has 2 outlets here. So first slot is Nintendo Switch 2 games, second slot is Switch games, but it's still the same exact slot.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
It just splits in when you're actually internally it splits in.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I don't know what the word is for it, but I know exactly what you're trying to say for sure. Well, beyond that, of course, like there are other patents that suggest full support for Switch cartridges, which obviously is essentially what we're talking about right now. And I mean, I think we're all on the same page, right? When it comes to backwards compatibility. I really think there's really like no chance that's not going to happen. It would seem silly because especially if you're going to continue to support Switch 1, that means people can buy Switch 1 games still and play them on Switch 2. And again, if you're making the most profit on software, why would you not do that?
And just Nintendo calling it the successor to the Switch, and then if you look at their track record of backwards compatibility with the previous system on handheld consoles, like it's almost a lock. Like unless if they have like a hard media shift, which this sounds like it's still going to be cartridges, obviously, like they just almost never don't do backwards compatibility, unless you go way back in the day, NES, SNES, N64. But past that, they're pretty good at backwards compatibility at handheld and home console.
Yeah, this also tells me that it is going to be revealed soon, because it's like they reveal a patent, they issue a patent, and then just a couple of weeks or a couple of months later, we see it. So maybe this is that patent, the pre-patent for that reveal trailer for the Switch 2.
Yeah, I think the breadcrumbs are increasing.
Yeah,
there's stuff kind of everywhere now, and it's starting to really add up to where we can get a better idea of how things might pan out. So in addition to that, there's the T239 NVIDIA chip that's been rumored for a very long time to be the technology inside the Switch 2. And we now have hiring post as recent as a month ago where Nintendo was looking for graphics engineers with experience debugging and other related things to the NVIDIA hardware, suggesting that yes, Switch 2 is in fact using NVIDIA hardware. Obviously, this may seem like a kind of no shit situation. We knew that. But given that this comes directly from a Nintendo hiring post rather than a rumor,
I
think it's worth mentioning as it's the first real mention of NVIDIA in a hiring post for this year, for 2024.
Yeah.
So I think that's substantial. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it was like the obvious thing, but it's cool to see the confirmation more or less. I mean, just the NVIDIA leak, it really did reveal back then that they were working on this stuff, you know? And so, but I guess you could argue that contracts maybe were never signed, and maybe Nintendo could have entertained an AMD and it, you know, it wasn't locked in. I think this is just more proof that it's locked in. And I have seen, you know, this one thing on the T239 going around online is like the longer that Nintendo waits to launch this thing, the more there's a certain percentage of the audience that feels like it's going to be dated hardware when it launches, which, to be fair, the Tegra X1 wasn't hot off the press either when Nintendo brought the Switch to market. But do you guys feel any more or less excited about it maybe being a T239? Do you think it's capable enough?
I think it is with the DLSS.
Yeah.
I gotta see the DLSS in action because, like I have a 4080 Super, which is, I mean, okay, that's kicking the shit out of whatever this to be. So the DLSS on it's incredible. I don't really need it, to be fair, when you got that big of a GPU, but it's one of those things that I kind of feel for DLSS. The unique thing Switch 2 is going to have is there's no system out there, including PC, where DLSS is actually like a standard. So I'm actually curious what happens when every single game is literally developed with DLSS actually in mind. Because I feel like that's where the surprises will come from Switch 2, and we'll actually see how powerful DLSS is. Like, even on PC, there's only 20 games or so that truly support DLSS, and it's not just a minor tacked on thing. So I really think it's going to end up being a pretty big deal. And I do have a thought that it may potentially only be turned on in docked mode, potentially.
I wondered about that too.
Because of dedicated cores that can run it, and those cores might just be shut off in handheld mode. I don't know for sure. Obviously, the system hasn't been announced. Because like the TV is where like the biggest benefit is. You know, trying to get that 4K or 1440p or that 60 FPS.
Yeah.
But I mean, it can be useful in handheld too. You could down the resolution to like 420, get a pretty nice looking 1080p image with high frame rates. So, I mean, look, the T239, the most exciting thing about this hiring post being NVIDIA is it's like, okay, well, if it's NVIDIA, then yeah, DLSS is like in. Like, it's all been rumors and leaks, but like this is from Nintendo. They're hiring a graphics engineer.
Yeah.
For NVIDIA technology right now. Like, okay, that obviously means they're going to keep using it moving forward. So I'm just excited. Like, that's the only system out there, by the way, using NVIDIA. And by the way, ARM CPUs, they're starting to become a pretty damn big deal right now.
Yep.
Nintendo
Windows,
made the right
Apple.
bet.
Yep.
Might have made the right bet, Nintendo.
Now, so DLSS was like historically, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe I read that it was typically used for ports, right? To be able to kind of close the gap on ports, which leads to what you were saying, Nate, that DLSS has never been used and created and built from the ground up for a new game. Like, it's never been built with that. So it's going to be really interesting to see, of all companies, what the wizardry, right, at Nintendo can do, or Retro Studios and Monolith, because Nintendo and Retro know how to squeeze everything out of a console. So what could they do with DLSS, right? That's the thing. That's the thing that actually really excites me. And then I gotta ask you guys too, because I don't think we've discussed this yet, but and you guys might be able to give me some more info on it. But the dock, isn't there a rumor going around about it being like 60 watts?
Yeah, in the shipping data, they uncovered a 60-watt charger and an additional fan that's speculated to maybe be in the dock because the system wouldn't have to have two fans.
and that would lead to it being able to run much more improved in dock mode versus like if you were to take Switch portable, Switch 1, and then Switch 1 dock mode, and you take Switch 2 portable and Switch 2 dock mode, we're going to see a bigger boost from Switch 1 to Switch 2.
Right. Yeah. So like the current dock is a 36-watt charger, so it's almost double. And then the fan idea, I've seen different theories, and there is a theory that I don't really buy into too much, but there's two different things that the fan could be tied to. So like one of it would be is if there's some kind of way that whenever you dock your system onto this new one that has the fan inside of there, if you can make like copper connections on the bottom of it to the dock, you could maybe use that as extra heat exhaust for the console to be clocked higher. I may have seen you say it. I don't know if that, but that is how I understand it, because you can't just put plastic on plastic and expect it to like really be exhausting out a bunch of extra heat. But if they can do it where the thermals are exposed at some point at the bottom, where if you put it on the dock, then maybe that fan could help exhaust out extra heat, which would let you clock the chip higher in docked mode significantly. The other theory is, and there's these Family Board users that I haven't really seen their track record, but that have suggested that maybe the dock, not as its primary play function, but has the option to allow you to stream your Nintendo Switch 2 screen to the dock while it's plugged in, AirPlay or Chrome Pack. What were you saying, Mike?
Yeah, there's a patent.
There's a patent for that?
Yeah, and so there's a patent for streaming, and there's a patent for the dock being a hub.
Okay.
So if you would undock, it will still be a hub. So I'm guessing picture the Wii, how you insert the disc, it'll pop up there. I'm picturing it'll be like its own entertainment hub with its own memory. That's why I think it'll have maybe the fan has to do with it being its own little computer system there as well, so that when you can you dock it, you see the Switch come up like already it's on there. You take it apart, you can actually stream from your Switch to that dock, and that will make it. I mean that opens the ability for dual screens, content to be on NSO, or maybe other games to be ported, with dual screen or whatever. But there is a patent, and that's something that I've been always saying. You know what? I think that the dock is going to be an entertainment hub. I think it'll have, it'll be a good one for Netflix and for Hulu and all that stuff, and then also to play your Nintendo Switch and also to stream. I think that's part of like the selling point for that new dock.
That could be, if they implement it right, and that could be awesome if done right. I'm not fully sold on that idea, but I do think, if they're messing around with it in patents and the dock has a fan in it, there is you can make a case that's going to be possible. And it does solve, to your point, the NSO dual screenplay issue if they bring DS and 3DS.
Yeah, the patent also has an image. I have a memory that I'm Dory for some things, but I have like a memory that I can't forget anything for other things. Maybe gaming, right? Maybe I'm that way. But the patent also has a diagram illustration of like video 1, video 2 episodes. So Nintendo may have their own little streaming service added to that, like Super Mario movie, The Legend of Zelda.
Give us a Captain N.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Captain N.
Splatoon animated series, right? And this could be added to NSO, the little streaming service with their own shows. So you get NSO, you get video games and stuff, plus you get DLC, plus you get to watch our movies and you get to watch our TV shows that we make with Nintendo. And one of the patents actually gives you the diagram where you see episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, episode 4, like that. And in movies, like on one side. So I'm like, that's where it's the same patent of the hub, the hub patent. So I'm like, that looks fantastic. Hopefully they go with it.
I mean, we know they're expanding.
Yeah,
their entertainment.
Yeah,
like Nintendo's not just no longer just pure video games. I mean, they got the theme park, of course, that is always being expanded depending on which location we're talking about. Of course, they got the Nintendo Museum opening up in Japan this year.
Yeah,
that's opening up in the fall. and of course the movies. So it would make sense. I'm surprised actually we haven't heard anything yet about a TV show.
They haven't.
I bet you they're working on it.
Yeah, you'd think so.
They are working on something. They are working. They have the movies, and I know a friend from school who works for a certain company.
Just
They
a
are working. They are working for an animated show. To me, they didn't tell me. I think it could be either Splatoon or Pikmin. It's gonna be an animated show, like a webisode, like episodes, and release them like back to back. I already saw some episodes from Pikmin, and they look very nice. It's like the Pikmin doing like little things, like non-communicative things, like a silent cartoon, like Tom and Jerry. Like a lot goes on, but
Yeah.
it's just them making the little cute noises. They've done that in the past. Like they released a little episodes like that. So I'm guessing
Didn't they have that on the 3DS, right?
Yeah. And maybe we'll get the Super Mario movie from 1993 in there.
Hey man, I'd be down.
With John Leguizamo.
Give us the 4K transfer too
Right.
in docked mode.
Yeah.
Be hilarious. Well, that's pretty awesome. We could probably get to our Q&A section. Let's see here. Our first one, guys. By the way, guys, if you have any questions, if you're watching live, you can go ahead and super chat them in. We do have a few already ready to go. Starting here with Howl Bastion, who says, "Could Switch 2 offer a dual screen experience when docked?" So we were just talking about that, right? Via TV streaming with performance enhanced by the dock components. So one thing about it, when we were bringing it up, that I wanted to mention was, outside of the fact that I don't actually think this is happening. I know there's like some stuff out there for it, but like wireless HDMI is not that great. Beaming your phone is all cool, except when you want to play games, it's not a great experience.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you're not going to boost the Switch's performance if you're holding it in your hand. It's just going to kill battery life. So you're actually just going to probably play. It would be like doing dual screen handheld mode on your TV, which I don't think would even look that good, especially if you have a 4K television. So I don't really think that's going to be a thing Nintendo's going to do. But if they did offer it as like, you can do it, but only for specific reasons, it would be for like DS NSO. Like it would literally just be like, this is not like a standard feature that you can just use outside of very specific use cases. And DS, 3DS, NSO, like that's kind of outside of that, I don't really think they're going to do it.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think they're going to do that feature for like, oh, there's a brand new game that you can do dual screen with. No, I think that the feature is specifically there to bring, to continue to bring those dual screen games to NSO. I agree.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I'm calling it right now. On the dock's gonna be bigger, and it's gonna have a screen on it itself.
It'd be awesome.
That'd be cool.
Then you can either play, just on your little dock screen, or you can dual screen it with your TV.
Yeah. Hey, you never know.
A small display on the dock would actually be cool, even if it was just something as simple as like a clock in the weather, But it would be kind of cool.
Paul
Like
about that.
the normal Switch, and you.
Yeah. Didn't we talk about that last week or 2 weeks ago? Paul was exactly talking about that scenario and how cool that would be.
Yeah.
And I could see that. It would make a lot of sense. Bring back the themes.
Yeah.
Again, easy money.
Yeah, Paul wants that dock without the front side, so that when you dock it, you can see the screen.
Oh, see the screen.
It's like you're showing it off.
That actually
man.
does seem like it makes more sense.
Free advertising for Nintendo when you walk in someone's house and they see that. What is that? Oh, a Switch 2.
Yeah. That'll actually, that works.
Interesting. Okay. Next up, we have something from David Main. I actually wanted to talk about it earlier, but I figured we'd wait for the Q&A section. David Main has a couple super chats related to it. He says, for $20, he says, you all are not giving any credit to the hardware production team. The same people that make the least amount of money in the company, yet produce all your hardware. Now, I want to be clear. I think you're talking about manufacturing. They don't technically work for Nintendo. They work for a different company that Nintendo hires, to be clear. And anyways, those people's numbers have decreased 50% since the pandemic. And then I think he continued it with this super chat where he said it will take longer to produce the consoles with half the people producing said consoles. And my only response to that is there's 50% less people working in manufacturing because the demand for manufacturing's gone down.
Mm-hmm. Well, Furukawa was pretty clear about they don't foresee any supply chain issues, and that any issues they did have in the supply chain during the pandemic have been alleviated for them.
Yeah, and computers, a lot of computers have taken over a lot of roles that no people used to do back in the
That
day.
too.
So, yeah.
I think people forget that like what the pandemic did is everyone's at home, so it caused a surge for at-home electronic devices.
Yeah.
And because of that, like there was a massive shortage. Factories were maxed out. They built new factories over the last few years, but in the end, by the time those new factories came out, the demand went down. I mean, look at PS5. Just look at it. It's barely outselling an 8-year-old Switch. Look at all consumer electronics. If you actually look at them, all sales are down. Phone sales are down, and it's because people are back to living their lives. And when they're back to living their lives and they're living a fuller life with more things going on, going outside, they tend to not need to buy all these at-home entertainment devices as much. And that doesn't mean that they aren't and the systems aren't selling well. What it means is, hey, we're not like trying to sell 28 million Nintendo Switches at the same time we're trying to sell 20 million PS5s, at the same time we're trying to sell 12 million Xboxes, at the same time that we're trying to sell 500 million phones in a year, the same time that GPUs are sold out and selling. People are trying to build PCs to build at home, and GPUs and CPUs are sold out in the millions and millions. Like that was a very unique time in the pandemic that created a demand that manufacturing couldn't handle. So like being down 50% from when they were peak, I mean, that makes a lot of sense because the demand's just not there anymore. It would take another global pandemic to put that back up. So I don't really foresee there being, and again, for Furukawa, as you guys said, he said it himself. Like he doesn't think there's going to be any problems. They got no issues with manufacturing. If they want to get things made, they can get it made. It's not a problem. So I do liken the whole original statement that you made, David, where you said we don't give enough credit to the manufacturing teams that get paid the least. I tend to agree that we don't give credit. The hard part that a lot of people have in giving credit is that like we're talking about employees at these factories that are getting paid like nothing, which sucks. And so most of the attention should actually be about how the companies are running these factories and the countries they're in just have horrendous shit policies in place for those employees. Like I want to give credit to them, but I actually feel bad for them because, they're taking the jobs because they need the job. Or sometimes in case of China, some of them might be even forced into factory work. And I want to give them credit, but I'm not so sure they even want to be working the job. So I think that it's
still give them credit.
I mean, I can give them credit for doing it, but it's still one of those that like, for the most part, all the reports out of these factories are always just horrendous. And we don't talk about it enough as a gaming community because I don't think we want to focus on the fact that that's where our electronics come from, are really shitty places and shitty conditions. So like full credit to the people that go through it, but also I kind of don't want them to go through it. I want them to be treated better and have better pay and better jobs and livable wages. So in the end, it kind of feels weird to give credit because I got to give credit to the companies running it that way, and I don't really want to do that.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think manufacturing is going to be a problem because Nintendo straight up said it won't be a problem. That's all. It's always hard to talk about the manufacturing side because it's always I gotta always bring it up like, hey, it's not necessarily.
So you can still give credit to the employees. Just
shout out to the hard workers, but not the companies they work.
Right.
And the hard workers that you guys were being forced to work during COVID. And it's just man.
Yeah, shout out to Thunderstat's shirt. I love it. The Contra.
Hell yeah.
Dude, he's got the Contra, we got the Smash Bros, we got the Indomania, we got the NES, and we got the Mario Bros. I mean, we're rocking right now. We're out repping today.
Yeah. I got 1, 2, and 3. I got 3 of them. I don't have the Contra one.
So Next up from Boomeni, he said predictions for an Ocarina of Time remake release month and year. So let's just presume it's real. It's happening. Release month and year.
November 2026.
November 2026.
Enough.
I'm gonna say holiday season, November 2025.
I'm gonna go. It's a Switch 2 exclusive,
Mhm.
and it's launching next year. I'm gonna go Switch 2. I'm gonna say Switch 2 launches in May. I'm gonna say this is a October release next year. Takes that famous October slate Nintendo likes to drop big games in.
I hate to say it because I want it to come sooner, but November 2028 would make a whole hell of a lot of sense. It's
No,
the 30th anniversary.
Yeah.
You what
Yeah.
the next
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, it's a prediction, right?
Rounding it to the anniversary.
I would say that, or it's going to be tied to the movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
2026.
So hopefully sooner than, yeah.
2027. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mhm. Eric, you got any predictions?
I'll split Sunbro and Thunderstash. I'll go holiday of 2027.
There we go. There we go.
Split them.
So Nate and I are in 20 or next year.
Because the hype is real.
Oh yeah. No, for sure.
Hype is real.
If it's next year, that'd be awesome.
That'd be sick.
And by the
dude.
way,
Tears
next
of the
year,
Kingdom, Echoes of Wisdom, Ocarina of Time remake. Back to
Too
back
much,
to back
too
years.
much greatness.
And
Yeah.
the latest the Zelda movie will come out is 2026. No later
While,
than that.
while we have a 3D Mario and probably a new Mario Kart and Legends and Metroid Prime 4, all that in 1 year, 2017, take my wallet. You know what? YouTube, hand Nintendo my check because that's where it's going.
Right.
Demonic Brawler comes out here and says Metroid Prime 4 Special Edition, Switch 1 or 2.
2.
Yeah, if it's cross-gen, they would... No, well, I don't know if they would do a special edition Switch that early into the life of the next-gen console.
Yeah, it's it's like...
Unfortunately, I would vote no Metroid Prime 4 special edition at all.
Me too. Yeah, same.
I will say this. There will not be a special edition system.
Yeah.
But I think they could do a deluxe edition that's like $100 or 120 or whatever for Metroid Prime 4 for Switch 2, and it bundles in themed controllers or
That
a
would be nice.
themed controller.
Yeah.
Like,
That'd
it
be
could
nice.
just be a 3 Pro controller or something.
Dread had a pretty hefty collector's edition. I have it somewhere around here.
So like
Yeah.
something like that for 2. For 1, I mean, look, they could do anything. I mean, at that I would they do? I think they'd probably be done with special edition Switch ones at that point if it's cross gen. And now, if it's not cross gen, well then shit, we're getting a special edition Switch.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
if it's
Could
not, we're presuming it's cross gen. It'd be. I mean, it doesn't have to be. It's backwards compatible, I suppose. But
yeah,
supposedly. All right. And then the last question I have queued up.
One more.
We got one more after this. Okay. Boom Any says, what kind of Zelda collectibles do you own? Oh my gosh. Does Thunderstash have like a whole room?
Well, I was gonna say, the last segment I saw that chat come in
Yeah.
when it first came in live. I was like, let me grab a few things real quick. Better I show you than explain it. But I will say, you guys can see right behind me, that is the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild Master Edition. My Best Buy got in 1. I had it pre-ordered. It's the only one. I see it on eBay right now for $3,000. And then,
damn it,
to the other side of it, you see the other one. Actually, you can see it right next to the Mario over there. That is the Breath of the Wild Master Edition. Right where the Game Boy is, that is the Link's Awakening Steelbook that only came out in European markets.
I'll give you $20.
And then, of course, I have the Master Edition of Tears of the Kingdom, and I got the console. That's all new stuff. This is the good stuff right here. Here you go. Here's one of them for you. We got
Ooh.
sealed Oracle of Ages and Seasons. Those are my original ones I bought in high school. We got The Legend of Zelda,
Wow.
Arrows of Darkness.
Is that
We
a
got
real
The
game?
Legend of Zelda, Legend of Link, which is the absolute coolest fan Zelda game I've ever played. It feels like a Nintendo game. I got the physical copy of The Legend of Zelda Broadcast Satellite, and everything works perfect. I got
Wow.
He's got BSL.
Legend of Zelda Parallel Worlds remodel physical.
You guys are going to make me drool today, aren't you?
I got more too, but I'm not going to grab all of them.
Is that sealed?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
the
she
seal?
got the sealed Twilight Princess with. Ah!
And then of course
Oh, and the
can't
yeah.
have one without the other. Factory sealed as well.
I was gonna show you like a little sword that I had.
I have an amiibo.
I got an amiibo and a book.
Well, I feel embarrassed after Thunderstash, but that's a great collection, dude.
Thank you.
So all my Zelda collectible stuff for the most part is in used condition, but the special edition Wii U gamepad, I do have the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess special editions as well. Not sealed. They are very much my used copies. A throwback to this game that has gotten a little bit pricey over the course of time, but of course the GameCube collection was awesome. Then I know this isn't factory sealing, at least I'm telling myself that it's not, but I do have a perfect condition Zelda Ocarina of Time. It's wrapped in shrink wrap, and I bought it on eBay.
That is nice.
And somebody misspelled Ocarina, and I did too when I searched for it. There was like nobody watching it, and this was years and years back, and I got it for like $40 on a bid because nobody else bid. So I was pretty happy with that.
Well, I got these glasses that you can wear right here, and you kind of put them
nothing to do with Zelda.
and then you kind of like you turn the button on, you push a button, and they kind of turn on, and they flicker and stuff, and
Those are sick.
so that's cool. I can play Zelda in them.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, there it is.
Wow.
That too, and then I do have the other collection as well that you just showed.
Yes.
And then
I got the Skyward Sword as well. Yeah. Nice.
I'm not even gonna show my stuff, man. I was gonna bring just like a little amiibo and the sword.
And then I do have the 5-screw Legend of Zelda for NES. You guys know about the 5-screw variant?
No.
More screw.
So for like my collectibles, I'm not gonna go grab them all. Most of them are in my back room. But I do have Zelda collectibles are something that I do have a decent amount of. Obviously, I don't know where my Switch went right now. One of my kids probably stole it. I'm gonna have to go bust his ass.
Of course he did. So I went to.
God, I'll check after the stream.
You know what? I'll bring one.
I think it's over there.
Oh, is it over? Is it
Okay. So there's Zelda.
Oh,
And then you see on the back, we got
5 screws.
3 screws here.
Yeah.
So this is one copy. And then there's this Zelda with the 5 screws.
Okay.
Okay.
So what that means, and you guys can see here too, you see the official Nintendo seal. It's an oval.
Sure.
And on a 5-screw, it's an original print. It's a circle. So there's different ways to tell. Like you used to be able to go on eBay back in the day and kind of like quickly kind of scan all the NES games that you knew were 5-screw variants, because people didn't know about it, and you used to be able to just look at pictures and find ones that are 5-screw, and still people don't know about it. I'll be honest, but you used to be able to go and find the 5-screw variants, and they do sell for a lot more. And
Nice.
you guys can see too, the gold on the 5-screw is so much better.
Right.
It's hard to see with my lighting, but this one
I can
looks
tell the
really
difference.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a good one to get.
I got my collection here. I got a little collection that I want to show off. Can you see me? You guys see me?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. Hey, I want to start off with showing you my book. This is the book. You open it, and inside are pages. Wait, let me see. This is Tears of the Kingdom, right? Yeah, Tears of the Kingdom. Pages.
That's a great guide. I have that,
it's
and
in
it's
the
very
condition.
nice.
I got this amiibo of Link. I got the Zelda one from Tears of the Kingdom. I got the Ganon one from Tears of the Kingdom. I got the Smash Bros. Zelda. I got the Wolf Link amiibo. Sealed. It's worth like $10,000. I got the this amiibo.
This amiibo.
With Ganon there. I got the sealed thingy. The
Yeah, I got a
you know what?
handful
I
of
bought
those
one
sealed.
to play and one to collect.
Yep.
I got this thing here.
Oh, the Zelda box.
Yeah, I got the Zelda box.
I got 2 up here on my
Yeah,
shelf.
also sealed. We want to trade. I got my unboxing sword. And I got of course I got this little guy here.
Nice.
Sure. Yep.
Heck
I
yeah.
got this lady here. And my prize collection. I just went away.
Is
Really
it?
lost. Oh, there we go.
Oh,
That's
nice.
cool.
Very nice. Very nice.
It's my shield.
Where'd you get that?
Fight people. I'd say that's my entire collection.
Mike, where did you get that?
Where did I get them?
Yeah, the shield. That's cool, man.
Shield.
Oh, I had some guy on Etsy.
I was to say, is it Etsy? That's
Yeah,
badass.
it's actually handmade with like carved and everything.
It looks like it.
Some guy on Etsy, a subscriber from my channel has an Etsy store, and then when I put out the PO box on my about page, they sent me this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That was nice.
yeah, that's pretty cool.
So, oddly enough, for me being Zelda all the time over all these years, I don't know where a majority of my collectibles are at the moment.
Oh, no.
Like legitimately, when I used to have my studio set up, they were all in my studio everywhere. But now we went with this more professional thing. Now
How
having
dare us.
collectibles. So like, I don't even know where most of them are. I could tell you what some of them are. They're in the back room somewhere in a bucket. But we do have a broken Skirvo here. That makes me very sad that he's broken. From a first 4 figure. Technically back there, you see the little statue there that has the Luigi squid on top. That is a broken Twilight Princess first 4 figure. Let's just say having children and having first 4 figures do not go together. So I stopped buying the Zelda ones because, well, they're just going to keep getting ruined. And that makes me cry. I only have one sealed Zelda game. And it was this little bad boy they dropped at Walmart. It comes with a little bonus thing inside, the Explorer's Guide. I bought 2 of them, one to open, one to keep sealed. So that's the only sealed Zelda game I have. I mean, there's collectibles back. You can kind of see the Tears of the Kingdom special edition there. Obviously I have the system as well, which, okay, yeah, a lot of people have. That's kind of recent stuff. Some of my more prized possessions, and this is one I was really trying to find, is I have the E3 2016 coin because I went there. I was there. I had a whole bunch of them. Gave a bunch away. I think I sold one for like 75, and now they're worth even more. And I have one that I cut for myself. I have also a T-shirt from there, like a mint condition T-shirt. I had like 6 of them, but was one I never wore. So I got a mint condition Breath of the Wild T-shirt from that E3. What else do I have? Somewhere, this is probably the most prized possession. Somewhere back there, I have an ocarina. Now, you can buy lots of ocarinas, but this one is special because it was sent to me by Nintendo for the release of Ocarina of Time 3D. And it's even got extra sentimental value to me because they sent it to me as media. I got an early copy of the game. It's the first time Nintendo ever sent me anything. And this was back in my Zelda Informer days. They reached out. Hey, are you the editor-in-chief of Zelda Informer? Yeah. Hey, can we get your address? We want to send you something for Ocarina of Time 3D. I said, okay. I didn't know it was a game, a T-shirt, and an actual ocarina, like replica from the game. It's sick.
It is pretty freaking cool.
So that's probably like one of my coolest prized possessions because I know there's not that many of that. It's just gonna be whatever media got it sent to them. And I've tried to even find it on eBay, and I can never find the exact same one. So I'm like, oh, I'm never getting rid of that. I'll hold on to that forever. Gotta find it. I gotta put it on display somewhere.
You got the pin from PAX.
Yeah, somewhere. Look at me finding it. That's the thing. Like, so many things have been moved out of my studio and into my back storage room that like I just don't really know where anything is anymore. It kind of sucks. What it means is outside of my studio, I need to set up a game room and pray my kids don't break my shit. That's the main reason everything's put away because I'm tired of my kids breaking.
You just need
everything.
to put a vault door on
a vault door
over there.
Yep.
And just absorb this next other room here into the office.
Yeah, I was already told I can expand in there if I needed to. But anyways, so I have other Zelda collectibles. I have this really, really old 1980s original Zelda poster that came out with the game. My dad had it actually for some reason, and he never even played Zelda. I don't know if he got it with like a promotion or a magazine or it beats me.
Yeah,
but it's very old and very delicate because it has been folded up several times. I don't take that out very often because I'm afraid the next time I do it, it will fall apart. But I probably should do it one more time and get it framed.
Get away other stuff.
Yeah.
So like I've got some, a couple amiibo. I got like the Skyward Sword one back there. I got the Link one. I don't really have. I feel like I used to have a lot bigger Zelda collection. I keep wondering if like I sort of sold it back in 2019 when I hit hard times. I sold a lot of my collectibles back then. So I'm like trying to remember what I didn't sell and what I still have.
You want to buy this amiibo?
I don't have that amiibo. I used to have every Zelda amiibo.
I'll sell it to you.
I do have every Zelda amiibo.
I'm sure you would. If I could afford to have them again, I would, but I can't. So sorry.
It cost me $14. I'll give it to you for 50.
For 50, thanks. Scalper, you bastard. The problem with the market. No, so yeah, no, like it's really cool watching you guys have all these Zelda collectibles because I'm like, damn. Dude, like I had the Twilight Princess Wolf Link box. I don't know what the hell happened to it. I had the Wind Waker one. Don't know what the hell happened to it. And you have sealed ones. You know how much those are worth? Of course you do.
Well, you are in the East Coast, right? Is that what I'm understanding?
Who, me?
Under? Yeah.
No.
You're not in the East Coast?
Arizona native.
So that's Central?
No. Arizona time. We don't participate.
Arizona is different.
Time.
Literally.
It
We don't participate with that bullshit.
whether it's mountain or Pacific.
I love it. We don't have to worry about it.
You got no daylight times. I mean,
Nah,
Florida,
They don't.
yeah, Florida voted to get rid of it, right? To stay in the time we are now, and just waiting for them to make it official already because so tired of the clock's forward, the clock's backward, the clock's forward. Like,
Right. Exactly, man. It's nice not dealing with it. Yeah, I forgot one thing I also have that you guys will probably appreciate.
come on, man.
I have all the Nintendo Vans shoes that came out. Do you guys remember that?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have all of them.
Dude, nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's like someone coming in and telling me they have all the Jordans. And I'm like,
Oh, Thunder. All you gotta do is make one YouTube video with all those Vans shoes, just one by one. You'll hit 1 million subs in no time.
You think so?
You got
a new Van shoe every day.
You have product. Like seriously, if you start making products,
You got some rare collectibles, man.
yeah, you'll get those views in for real.
I have a lot more stuff. I just grabbed what I could right here.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Yeah.
I'm aware you have a lot more stuff. It's like my job. Every time we talk about like collectibles or anything, or we're just talking about a game, and you walk up with like a stack of collectibles for it, I just sit there. I'm like, I am just in awe right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm gonna give you advice.
That room you're in, and whatever other rooms adjacent with more stuff,
Yeah,
that needs to be in my house.
we can switch if you want.
You can move out. You can sit in their room.
So instead of making the shorts that you do with the retro games,
Yeah.
doing with those, you'll see.
Okay.
All right, we have one more question or statement coming in. Unless someone else super chats. We have Paul Gale says, "What do you think of Nintendo Snap releasing 5/15/25? I swear, if
Oh Lord.
I know you're joking,
Yeah.
Paul, but I also know
Hey.
you know people. If you know the name and that's the name,
Listen.
I'm just gonna.
Hey, we came up with that name at the Nintenbyte Podcast. Nintendo Snap.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So it's official. It's gonna happen.
Oof.
5/15/25. So May 15, 25. I can see that happening. That's very good date.
I swear, if it's called
be
the
okay with
Switch
it.
Attach, like that
Oh
hamburger.
my God.
Yeah,
I'm
it's going to break my heart if it's called the
Me
Switch
too.
Attach. It's going to be a real
I
bad
prefer
problem.
Snap. It
Oh,
goes
and you know what? It's got the magnets, so hey, attach. Just stop.
Yeah, it
Yep.
makes sense actually.
It
Just,
actually does. That's the problem.
That is the problem. It's a horrible name, but it's still horrible because it doesn't indicate it's a new system.
I know.
But you do know that they've been
Yeah,
doing
true.
this all the time, right? And this is not a Switch. This is a Snap. So maybe they hint the name.
They're just mimicking the sound of the Switch. Yeah. So Snap's the logical conclusion. Okay, there you go.
They've been hinting the
Yeah,
name all the time.
not confusing at all to the snaps they've been doing the entire Switch generation.
Right? I mean,
No confusion. What are they gonna do? Snap, like do double snaps in the ads now that you click in the snap
right.
and then you do a second.
they use that.
Little Addams Family. All right. Well, I think that's gonna do it for episode 16 of the Nintenbyte Podcast. I want to thank everyone for being here. Yes, I know I skipped over the fourth topic because look, dude, we had so much to talk about. We didn't need it. We didn't need it. Same thing happened last week. It is what it is. Last week, dude, we had Switch 2 and Echoes of Wisdom. The hell are we gonna have next week? I have no idea. Oh, maybe. Does Detective Famicom Club come out the next week? I don't remember the release date for that one.
I think it's the next week after the
Detective
very end. No, because it'd have to be a Thursday, so that'd be the 24th.
Did it come out? Wait, no, that's the other one.
No, I'm way off. I scrolled down on my
here.
calendar.
August 29th.
29th.
it won't be
There you
next-
go.
Yeah, it won't even be on the next podcast after. It'll be the one after. Holy crud, that's a ways away. Well, damn. Maybe, but doesn't mean we won't be talking about it. There could be news. There could be trailers. There could be something. Who knows?
there's a new trademark. Game and Wario.
Okay,
It's pending.
cool.
Maybe
Let's
that's
go around the room and let people know who we are and what we got going on and where they can find us. Let's just get the long-winded one out first. Mike Odyssey,
that.
what do you got going on and where can we find you?
You can find me at the Odyssey Monday through Friday. News and that's it.
That's it. Wow, not even advertising Indie Mania, man.
Oh well, yeah. And you can also find me at Indie Mania in September 12, 13, and 14. We have around 69 developers. They're showcasing a lot of games to main account, and we have an event that spans 3 days. We are going to be hosting it. IGN is hosting it, and we also hosting it on a whole bunch of multi amazing creator platforms such as Nintendo Prime. We got Thunderstatch Gaming. We might have Sunbro. Sunbro hasn't been confirmed, but we might have Sunbro in there. And so for all of you who this is not just a regular co-streamer. We have the content creator initiative. Is basically what happens is that when you co-stream, well, you sign up and you co-stream because we need your information. Then we go ahead and we get all these digital codes from all of these developers, and you guys are gonna be flooded with digital codes to be part, because you're part of the event. We want to say thank you and say, hey, you get to not only stream it but also experience the games that you see. And that's one thing that I wanted to do from the beginning when I created Indie Mania, just to whoever co-streams the event gets to also partake in what's being offered,
Which is really cool. I appreciate that.
All Guild Network and I are co-streaming the event. I was in Los Angeles the other day filming the event, and it was my first time there. Pretty cool. Yeah, September, IGN, Nintendo Prime, Stash, and Sunbro, and it's Sunbro.
Maybe we'll see. I got to look at the dates again, but potentially.
You had your first In-N-Out burger, right?
Oh yeah. I mean,
So good.
First thing I gotta say, look, I understand if their In-N-Out is like a fast food, and they might be different everywhere else. But the one that I went to, for me put In-N-Out in at the top of the fast food burger chain, and also competing and maybe beating some of the gourmet ones like Five Guys and all that stuff. Five Guys is good, but that burger that I had that Paul made for me there, Paul was the one who actually said, "Yo, have this one." He had that one with jalapenos.
He got the 2x4.
I think so. I don't know. I don't remember.
Or is
the
it?
name.
Yeah, I think I saw what Paul put in the
Yeah,
tweet,
it
but
was
I always get a 2x4.
It was loaded, and then the fries were loaded too, and it was just crazy. So yeah.
You got the animal style fries.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Classic.
Overrated trash. That's what In-N-Out is.
Yeah.
Everyone told me like I was so hyped to go try. I'm like, dude, this shit's
Yep.
worse than McDonald's. What the fuck are we talking about? This is
No
just-
way.
it is trash.
It's okay.
And then you're saying it's better than like Five Guys. I'm like, nah, man.
I mean, I'm not saying it's
Wait,
better.
wait, wait.
than Five
It's
Guys.
all about personal taste.
Oh, yeah,
right?
for sure.
So like you can enjoy, as an example, I happen to like Del Taco when I'm out in LA. I think it's pretty decent.
It is.
I
We
think-
have it here.
Tell me they'd rather have Taco Bell, and I'm like, nah, I don't really like Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Taco Bell's more creative though with their new
Oh
items.
yeah,
Fair
they have a lot of creative things.
There's
that-
some intriguing stuff there. Sometimes you're like, I gotta try this.
Taco Bell started doing press events for their new menu items. Like I saw some videos where they're literally were doing it like Apple style, where they're like, and here's the new, it comes with the Cheez-It layered, 5-layer crunchy wrap.
Oh yeah,
whatever.
that thing's crazy.
Yeah.
I haven't had it. I can't do it. I'm just like,
I always feel like trash after I eat Taco Bell, but
That's
it's
the thing.
it's enjoyable in the moment.
I get it a couple times a year at the
Taco Bell is
most.
American food. Okay, it's not Mexican food. It might be in the shape of a taco, but it's American food.
Oh yeah,
It is.
1000%.
I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, Indie Mania. Oh, go subscribe to the Indie Mania YouTube channel. Forget about mine. Go subscribe to the Indie Mania YouTube channel. That's where the stuff is happening, and there'll be more surprises out there that you guys might wanna get attached to, like the Switch.
like the Switch. Oh, it's hilarious. All right, guys. Sunbro Nation.
Yep, Sunburn Nation on everything. YouTube's my primary platform. I occasionally post on X, and Sunburn Nation across the board on all the social media. Six videos per week, Nintendo focused, news, speculation, rumors, all of the above. An occasional patent video. I don't do as good as of a job as covering those as Mike does, but yep, come check me out.
All right. Let's go to Eric. What's up? Where you at? What you got going on? Anything?
I'm here until I'm not.
Yeah. Well, like what? 2 weeks from now, you probably won't be.
So far it's the 27th, so I should be still good, but you just never know.
Well, all right. Thunderstash Gaming. What do you got going on? Where can they find you?
So yeah, find me at Thunderstash Gaming on YouTube, and you can find all the other social media links there. And then what I got coming up. So it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. This past Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I played some very, very cool Legend of Zelda games. And essentially what it is, I played the original Zelda, but on Super Nintendo. It's an unofficial port. I played Zelda 2, unofficial port on Super Nintendo. And then I played A Link to the Past with the MSU1 chip attachment, which if you guys don't know what it is, you can probably Google it, but basically it's like a fan developed technology that simulates like what could have been if the Super Nintendo had a CD add-on.
Oh, wow.
And it is amazing. I played A Link to the Past. It has 108 CD quality soundtracks, fully orchestrated. Like you go into the shop in A Link to the Past, and it's playing the music from Ocarina of Time when you go into the shop. But on top of that, it's fully orchestrated. So I'm like playing this, and it's epic. And I was playing it on my analog Super NT. So I'm playing it on my big TV. It's in full HD. And dude, it was an experience. So look forward to those reviews. I finished beating all 3 Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 100% it. All of them, did the side quests. There are some side quests in Zelda 2 as well, and then A Link to the Past. But yeah, completely done. All the footage is recorded. I wrote my scripts. Now I just need to get in front of the camera. So hopefully I'll have I'm hoping on Friday.
That's good. That's awesome.
Yeah, really fun.
So Nate, can I add 3 more things real quick?
Sure, Mike. Have a good time.
Number 1, all the music from Indie Mania is royalty free. Nobody has any issue with the copyrights because I made sure and I spoke to every developer. I told them, look, all the music needs to be approved for content creator purpose. Every song we had made done, we even have our own theme song done, is royalty free. There's a trailer on X. You can listen to half of the music, a little clip on music. It's really cool. It's called Indie Mania, of course. Royalty free. Okay, so streamers, you don't have to worry about. Because I'm a streamer, I know I deal with that. So I make sure to put into this event what I go through, and so I make sure that Number 2, Nintenbyte Podcast Fridays at 8:30, and number 3 is being held at Thunderstatch's room because it's like the best place ever.
I gotta show you guys my barcade sometime. Like I gotta use a different camera and take you guys in there and show you all the arcades.
No, for real. I need to go to the Thunderstatch's house.
Yeah, it'd be fun, man. Have a big party. Just play video games.
Also has a museum in his house. He has 2 houses. Okay, he has 2 pools. One Zelda, one Mario. Like one pool in one house, one pool in the other house. The other pool, he has enough stuff because I went to his house with his mom. Mama's so sweet. Shout out to Mama Gail. He has enough stuff there for literally an actual museum. It's crazy, insane. Sealed things like from insane, man. This is crazy.
That's awesome. I didn't know that he had 2 different pools. I saw the Mario pool after I looked at the Zelda pool, and I didn't know that he had another one. So I thought maybe he swapped it.
He has it. He has one in one house, the Mario one, and then the Zelda one in the other house. It's just like, what the heck, man?
All right.
Paul's pretty set up.
All right. And obviously, guys, I am Nate from Nintendo Prime. You guys know I host the Nintenbyte Podcast. I also have a channel where I talk about a lot of things, a lot of Switch 2 right now, but Echoes of Wisdom stuff as well. I'm just waiting on more stuff to drop for that, and all Nintendo news. Pretty hyped up. We'll have the show again next week, same time. We got, I think, let's see, next week is N64 Josh Favlam and John Nebo coming on. So that should be a fun show. We got another packed one for you guys. And I have no idea what the topic is going to be. I have no idea because I don't make the news and I don't know what's happening. So what I can say, though, is that you guys can listen to the Nintenbyte Podcast everywhere podcasts are heard. You can also check out our Nintenbyte Clips channel as well, where the clips from these podcasts will go up each individual section. Obviously, the last 2 podcasts, it's been pretty damn long sections. I promise at some point the topics won't be so damn large. We'll be able to condense it more. But, for right now, we're having lots of big topics. So that's exciting. It's exciting when we got big things to talk about, right? This is, as content creators, especially with the year it's been, this is kind of what we've been waiting for, is big shit to talk about.
Sure.
I think we all can agree on that. All right. Thank you guys so much for being here, and we'll catch you same time next week.